Welcome to QBSN Radio. I'm Matthew Mugno, joined by Eric Zank, and we are coming straight from the Frzoen 4. Quinnipiac Bobcats, Michigan Wolverines, down in Jungle Land, Tampa Bay, Florida. The big dogs from the Big Ten versus the ECAC semifinalist losers, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. They look to take the national stage for redemption against a team that they were eliminated by in Allentown 2022, that regional final. Eric, what is the key to this game? There's so much going on. You have the York Hill boy line. There's Sherbrooke boys line. You have Adam Fantilli on the other side of the ice. It's a heavyweight tilt here in Amalie Arena, where the Tampa Bay Lightning take the ice for 82 games a year.
It is. It's a huge stage for both teams, but for Quinnipiac, they can't let the moment get to them. That's what they said in the press conference yesterday. That's what happened last year when they lost to Michigan in the quarterfinals in Allentown. First time in the Frzoen 4 since 2016 when they were eliminated in the championship game. So a chance for redemption here for Quinnipiac. None of the players from that 2016 team are still on the roster now. So a nice fresh roster for the Bobcats and a new appearance here. Their third Frzoen 4 appearance in history and third in 10 years as well.
There you go. Puck is dropped, and we're underway here. The Bobcats possess, chip it out of the zone, and Brindamore is in on after it. Tries to chip it off to Burgart, but can't. Starting line, DeYoung, Brindamore, and Desi Burgart. A pass in front, misses Burgart on the connection, and Johnson dumps it in. That line succeeded and scored what would become the game-winning goal in the Bridgeport Regional Final against Ohio State University, another Big Ten program. Bobcats look to make their mark early against a Michigan team that has a lot of skill on their roster, Eric.
They do. They have a ton of skill, including one player that we mentioned a lot tonight we will be mentioning a lot tonight because it is known that at season's end for Michigan, whether that be with a national championship or an elimination tonight or Saturday, Luke Hughes will be heading to the Garden State to play for the New Jersey Devils. Right at season's end, he will sign that contract. So he's just one of 9 skaters on the Michigan roster that have been drafted by an NHL team, so it's no secret the high skill of this Michigan Wolverine roster.
That also goes to say for Adam Fantilli, he's ranked the number 2 prospect by, ready for this, 17 different outlets, EliteProspects.com, Daily Faceoff, FCH Hockey, The Hockey News, Bob McKenzie, and Craig Button from TSN and NHL Central Scouting, among the other networks like Sportsnet. He's a Hobey Baker finalist. That'll be announced tomorrow here in an event outside of Amalie Arena in the Plaza. A great fan fest to kick things off, and a lot of the fans from the Minnesota and BU game, the game before this, Minnesota won. They advanced to the national championship game. They've stayed and remained in this 19,000-seat arena to watch Quinnipiac and Michigan go toe-to-toe. A little bit of a rematch from the Allentown Regional Final where the Bobcats cut the lead. Desi Burgart scored to make it 4-3, and Rand Pecknell made a bold decision that did not pay off in pulling Yanni Peretz with 4 minutes remaining in the game. They eventually lost 7-4. Now Christoph Fillion, the Sherbrooke boys, are on the ice with Victor Chinekiner, number 14, center for the third-line center for the Bobcats. He was named the best player in the game by Coach Rand Pecknell in the loss that Eric and I were on the radio call for in Lake Placid for the ECAC semifinal, which is the Bobcats conference semifinal. They are now in the Frzoen 4 semifinal to advance to the national championship. They really hit the reset button there to turn things around and perform well in the regional.
They really did, and that was one thing that head coach Rand Pecknell touched on in that post-game presser alongside Zach Metza in Lake Placid. He said that a big point was going to be the reset button. They knew they were going to be in the national tournament here, and now in the Frzoen 4, the reset button was huge for them because they had an excellent round in Bridgeport that got them here to Tampa Bay.
And now Michigan controls as it's the fourth line, a grinding line in Gronowicz, Moyle, and Estapa. Nolan Moyle, the captain of the Michigan Wolverines, was the dagger against the Bobcats last year. He scored 2 goals in the regional final game, which really put the Wolverines ahead of the Bobcats early in that game where they jumped out to a 4-0 lead in the first period. And now DeYoung does his work along the boards and Lombardi getting to work. In the presser yesterday, Lombardi claimed that their grind, their team culture will come through as DeYoung shakes up a forward. It looks like Gavin Brindley got checked hard by DeYoung in the corner, and Jake Johnson just takes down Rucker McGroarty. No call. The refs did swallow the whistle a little bit in the first game. We saw that the officials in Game 1 of the Frzoen 4 between Boston University and Minnesota, they swallowed their whistles and let the boys play. And now we have a tripping call on Michigan, and from the looks of it, it looks like Ethan Edwards will go to the box on a tripping call in the offensive zone. You never want to take an opportunity like that. Now, the Bobcats can strike early, and this is part of what Rand Pecknold wants within his formula and game plan. Scoring on the power play, not only doing that, but trying to score a goal 4 minutes into this game.
This is a huge opportunity for Quinnipiac to get on the board early against a team that is highly favored. Michigan, the Wolverines, a huge favorite coming into tonight, but the Quinnipiac power play could not be overlooked. 37 for 157 on the year, 23.6% success rate, improvement from last year. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hop on the board early here. And we touched on before with the refs swallowing the whistles a little bit. That's what you like to see, to an extent in a game like this. National tournament, you want to see them kind of let the boys play, but that tripping call right there, he couldn't let that one go. That was blatant. But you do like to see that, let them boys play, especially, like I said, on a stage like this.
And certainly when it's an offensive zone trip from a defenseman, it's a pretty obvious call. So that one sends Ethan Edwards to the box. The Bobcats are on the power play. No shots on goal yet as the Bobcats look to capitalize on an opportunity that they had some difficulties with their man advantage in the regional final, but right now Skylar Brindamore will face off against Mark Estapa, a gritty forward for the Michigan Wolverines, as he looks to kill this penalty off, and the Wolverines come away with the draw, and Colin Graff intercepts in the corner, sends it off to Brindamore, who sends it to the point to Metza. Metza off the wall to Lipkin, controlling at the point in their 1-3-1 system. Graff collects at the left circle and sends it down to DeYoung, who takes a shot and puts it over the net. He looked like he had some room to work with, and Portillo gave up some space on top of his right shoulder blocker side. Brindamore tries to feather a pass through, but it's cut off. Estapa collects the puck off his backhand, sends it out of the zone, hits off Metz's knee pad, and he collects at center ice. Tries to send a pass off for Brindamore, who's chugging on into the zone with Lipkin. Sam Lipkin won a bronze medal at the World Junior Championship, but he was eliminated with Rand Pecknold and Rucker McGroarty of the Michigan Wolverines by the Canadian team, who featured Adam Fantilli. He recorded points, 2 goals, 3 assists in that tournament, and they were on the biggest stage for the youngest players and most skilled players below 21 in the U20 Tournament World Junior Championships this year. Now the Bobcats look to restart in their own end, and Metza passes it off to create time and space. Lipkin, a dump. Portillo goes to play it, but a circle's too fast around the boards for him to play the puck, and it comes out to Lipkin in the slot, who takes a shot, and it goes wide. The rebound comes out in the slot, and it's chipped out of the zone by Jackson Hollum, a Vegas Golden Knights draft pick.
Well, that's one of those opportunities for Quinnipiac. They're going to have to hit the net there. That was a golden opportunity from Lipkin in the slot, and unfortunately for him, wrist one just high and wide. You're not going to get many of those opportunities against the Wolverines, though, so you got to capitalize when you do.
Oh, certainly not, especially with some space like Lipkin had there in the slot all alone. Hughes is shaking off the puck. He's been compared to Brent Burns between his size and skill, and his brother Quinn Hughes, a mobile defenseman, but can lead, his jump on offense can lead to some porous defense. Now Lee gets the puck to Fillion, who shakes it around the boards. Portillo tries to play it, and the puck comes out, and a golden opportunity for Quillen to stuff it as it rolls off of his stick. I'm not sure if Hughes got a stick on it or not, but it came right out in front, and Fillion finds Quillen in front all the time in the world, takes a shot. The rebound comes out, Quillen across, tries to feather a pass, and Portillo is sprawling around and scrambling in the crease. Tellier off to the point, a shot, rolls over the net, and a rebound comes out, he chips it in and scores! Jacob Quillen scores! 1-0 Bobcats off a rebound! Portillo is scrambling in net! That's hockey, baby! It's 1-0 Bobcats!
Well, it was a relentless effort in the Michigan zone. I don't know how it didn't go in. 3 or 4 opportunities before that. but it finally does. It finally crosses the line for Quinnipiac. They find themselves up 1-0, and that's the kind of hockey we talk about that they have to play. When they're in their O-zone, they have to be relentless. They can't give up on plays like that. When they have the opportunities, the goalie's down, the defensemen are down, they have to keep pressing until that puck crosses the line or there's a whistle, and they did. They find themselves up 1-0 here just under 6 minutes into the opening period. They also own the first 3 shots on goal of the game, so a great start for Quinnipiac overall.
That's the start you want to see, right? A gritty start. This is how you score and capitalize on opportunities. Jacob Quillen, his 5th goal and 6th point in tournament play so far. So Jacob Quillen, who went quiet and on a cold streak for 9 games coming into the playoffs, has been arguably the Bobcats' best performer. Now a pass comes out. Sam Miskevich misses pulling the trigger there, and a pass comes out to Lombardi, passing it to himself, and the Bobcats have numbers. Mike Lombardi down the left wing, toe drag, and he can't pull the shot off. And now the Wolverines come the other way. It's Sam Miskevich who tries to shake and bake on Johnson, who gives a hard check. And Sam Miskevich looked angry that there was no call there. Desi Burgart hustling him. Puck comes out to Hughes, who takes a shot, and it looks like it was either blocked in front or by Peretz, and the puck's chipped out of the zone as the Wolverines clamp down in the offensive zone.
Well, that's where Quinnipiac's going to have to be careful, because as we saw just on that play, Michigan, a fantastic team, obviously one of the reasons they're here, but they can turn the tide really, really quickly, and they almost came close there to tying this game up on just one defensive miscue by the Bobcats.
And it looked like they generated 2 shots, but none actually hit Peretz right now, as that's what the clock's looking like. And they're doing a good job of controlling things in the neutral zone currently. Now Seamus Casey moving on in on his forehand. He scores! He dangles Yanni Peretz, cuts around a defender, and ties this game up. It's 1-1.
Well, talk about a beauty. ESPN, tally that up for your highlight reel. What a goal by Seamus Casey, another New Jersey Devils prospect there, alongside his teammate Luke Hughes. But this play was all Casey from the blue line in. He dangles around 3 Quinnipiac defensemen, gets around the left pad of Yaniv Peretz in goal, and single-handedly ties this game up for the Wolverines. And that right there, 1 shot, 1 goal for Michigan. That's what Quinnipiac is going to have to watch out for. That's how quickly Michigan, like I said, can turn the tide in this one. We've got a tie game here.
He's a Fort Myers, Florida native, so a Florida native scoring in Tampa, Florida, must be a moment for him, and the Michigan chants Let's Go Blues are raining down in this arena right now for the Bobcats to try and find a way to turn this tide real quick. Now Graff a chip off the wall, the York Hill boys line out for the Bobcats, who have come out of nowhere this season. They were united in December in a game against Union where Colin Graff had a 5-point game and Sam Lipkin had a 4-point game. Jacob Quillen also was on ESPN's top 10 plays of the week that week. I believe that was December 10th, 2022 in a game against Union, and a shot comes really close to the crease all the way out on a dump in. The Michigan Wolverines collect, take a shot, but it's called offsides, and the Bobcats shake out the forward that took that shot. Looks like Adam Fantilli, who plays with an edge. He's up for the Hobie Baker Award, 64 points on the season. If you know anything about college hockey, you certainly know about Adam Fantilli. If you don't, played for the Chicago Steel with Sam Lipkin in 2020 through 2022, and he is a first year for the Wolverines.
Yeah, even more impressive on top of the season that he's had statistically. But I do like what the Bobcats did there. Although the play was offside and the shot wasn't registered as an official shot on goal because the whistle was blown, Quinnipiac still took exception to it, and they knocked up Fantilli in the O-zone there. And I like that because the goal here for Quinnipiac, or one of the goals, should be to get under the skin of Michigan. They know that's how they're going to have to beat them. That's how they beat so many teams this season. And Fantilli especially, if you get under his skin, if you bother him, if you make him angry or upset, he will start to make mistakes. Untimely penalties are a trend for him all year long, or have been a trend for him all year long. So I do like Quinnipiac's strategy there. Although the shot didn't count and it didn't harm Quinnipiac in any way, they still roughed him up a little bit once the whistle was blown, and little things like that can start to get under his skin.
Especially for a team and program that may have overlooked the Bobcats. The newest head coach for the Michigan Wolverines was an interim last year. The reason he had garnered that position and earned the position was because he was an assistant coach, and they simply ran out of time to hire a new coach after Mel Pearson faced allegations of mistreating players and staff within the organization. He brought the team to the 2018 Frozen Four and 2022 Frozen Four, Now, Brandon Naruto, in his first season as a head coach, has brought the Michigan Wolverines to the Frozen Four. He was also a player under Red Berenson, who's a notable historical college hockey coach and won a Stanley Cup as a player. So he played under him and went to the Frozen Four in 2005 under Red Berenson, and now he's behind the bench for the Wolverines. But he had stated yesterday in the press conference that he's been scouting the Bobcats for about a week and a half now, but he didn't really have a lot to say about their team, their culture. It seems like the Wolverines might be overlooking the Bobcats a little bit, considering that they were in the Big Ten Conference where they faced so many strong and built programs.
Yeah, and that's something that's said all year long, that, Quinnipiac in the ECAC, doesn't face many good teams, or, the opponents aren't there toughness-wise. But, this year I think is different. They beat Merrimack, who's a really solid team in their own right, and Ohio State as well. So they've shown that they can go head-to-head against some of the best teams in the nation. So if Michigan's overlooking Quinnipiac, I think that could be it's going to be a mistake for them. Will it be crucial or not? We'll see at the final horn. But Quinnipiac is definitely not a team that should be overlooked by anyone.
Culture. It seems like the Wolverines might be overlooking the Bobcats a little bit, considering that they were in the Big Ten Conference where they faced so many strong and built programs.
Yeah, and that's something that's said all year long, that, Quinnipiac in the ECAC, doesn't face many good teams, or, the opponents aren't there toughness-wise. But, this year I think is different. They beat Merrimack, who's a really solid team in their own right, and Ohio State as well. So they've shown that they can go head-to-head against some of the best teams in the nation. So if Michigan's overlooking Quinnipiac, I think that could be it's going to be a mistake for them. Will it be crucial or not? We'll see at the final horn. But Quinnipiac is definitely not a team that should be overlooked by anyone.
Fillion sends it into the zone and heads to the bench, and it looks like Friedman, Lombardi, and Cipollone are on the ice. Friedman doing work in the corner. Pass out to Lombardi, who takes a shot, and it comes in the crease. Portillo covers. Now, something we haven't talked a lot about yet on the broadcast is Eric Portillo. He's an LA Kings prospect. There's not a lot of the way in his ascension to the throne potentially in LA, as they acquired Jonas Corposalo at the trade deadline but traded Jonathan Quick. Cal Peterson, a former Notre Dame goaltender, has kind of fallen off in LA, and now he's the backup. They look to deal him. It looks like Portillo, if he comes out of school, might be the starter for the LA Kings or within their system in the Ontario Reign very soon, as he's performed great this season for the Michigan Wolverines. Sam Miskevich moving on in, shakes off Metza, takes a shot, but it's weak and hits off the post. Lombardi shakes off the check of Casey and dumps the puck in, going on after it. Behind the net, Lombardi checks Luke Hughes as Sam Miskevich retrieves. Sam Miskevich scored the goal against Penn State to send the Michigan Wolverines to the Frozen Four in a 1-1 game, a close game. Penn State, a program that no one expected to have this season, they had this past season. They scored the first goal. Fantilli tied that game in the Allentown Regional, and Sam Miskevich had an NHL release to finish the game. Now, he is an NHL draft pick. Lipkin to the point. Lee off to his partner. Legault misses the puck. A shot tried to push towards the net, and Nazar comes one-on-one with Lee. Nazar cuts to the middle, tries to get a puck off, and a good back check by Legault knocks the puck off his stick. Nazar in on the forecheck. Checks a Quinnipiac defender. My apologies, Jake Quillen, who now has the puck, intercepts it in the neutral zone, and Lipkin hits into one of the Wolverines. A shot on goal. Portillo looks like he lost track of it on a shot from Graff, and it's covered up. Colin Graff's had a sensational season.
He really has, and he's really done a terrific job this year of filling some of the shoes of the departed players from last season. In just 39 games, he's got 56 points, so a point-per-game player by a long shot. Last year with Union College, 37 games, 22 points in those games, so he's taken a giant leap statistics-wise in just one season from Union all the way to Quinnipiac, and he's been one of the keys to the Bobcats' success all year long.
And an unprecedented growth period for Colin Graff has led to his season. And now Burgart shakes off Brindley and gets a pass off, but Casey intercepts, and the Bobcats collect again. Burgart through his legs, but Casey collects the puck, sends it into the offensive zone from the neutral zone. McGroarty checked hard by Brandon Moore and DeYoung. Both of those players have won a Defensive Forward of the Year award for the ECAC. Desi Burgard, a nice move to himself, cuts to the net on one hand, gets the puck and it bobbles in the crease, but Brandon Moore can't bat it in. Skylar Brandon Moore, son of Rod Brandon Moore, he was just on the broadcast for ESPN. Metza from the point, tries to feather Brandon Moore, gets a pass in front, and DeYoung takes a shot, but he's tied up by Edwards and couldn't pull the trigger and get the shot clean off. Lombardi off to the point. Metza takes a shot, tries to look for a tip, but DeYoung misses on that. Lombardi in the corner. Time and patience, tries to get a pass off to Brandon Moore. This line doing a good job below the dots. Metza, one-timer shot goes wide of Portillo. And the puck comes out to Jake Johnson, a transfer from the RPI Engineers. Had hardly seen a playoff game in his 4-year career as an Engineer, and as a Bobcat has performed super well. Now Johnson moving on in on a poor line change by Michigan. Takes a shot and it's gloved by Portillo, who shuts that opportunity down by cutting off the angle.
Oh, that was close there for Quinnipiac. A bad line change there. Quinnipiac almost caught the Wolverines. That shot, unlike the one just from a few minutes ago by Lipkin, at least that one hit the net. So that's what I say when you got to make those opportunities count, because that's one of those that, again, you're not going to get very often against this Michigan team. So if you're not going to score, at least make Portillo make the save, and he did there. So that was good to see from a Bobcat perspective. Only 6 shots faced, though, from Portillo, and even fewer, just 2 shots on goal for Michigan, although one of them did cross the line. So not a bad season by any stretch, but definitely a drop from last year.
Almost 3 goals a game, if not on the wrong side of 2 goals a game against him. So he does surrender goals on opportunities, and if the Bobcats can get their offense going, we already see they have a tally on the board now. Ivari Rossinen intercepts and swings it around the boards to Colin Graff. Colin Graff, a top 10 finalist for the Hopi Baker, sends a pass off to Quillen, moving on in. He scores! Jacob Quillen, 5-0. It's 2-1 Bobcats.
And that's what I talk about. That was a golden opportunity on a clean breakaway, and Quillen makes no mistake. Goes 5-hole, a beautiful goal on Portillo. His second goal allowed in just 12 minutes played in this opening period. What a start for the Bobcats.
Ever Jacob Quillen's in the building on a clean breakaway. He snipes it 5-hole to put the Bobcats up 2-1 on their 7th shot on goal. What an opportunity created by Graff off the wall, sends it off to Lipkin, dishes it off, backhand, turned around to Jacob Quillen, streaking on in, and the Bobcats take the lead over the Michigan Wolverines. There's 8:39 left in this first period, Eric.
Well, you expect that from Jacob Quillen. The last 2 games the Bobcats played, he had 2 goals versus Merrimack and an assist versus Ohio State. So he's been an offensive weapon all year long for the Bobcats. His second goal of the game. So goals 17 and 18 on the season for number 16. Blistering start for the Bobcats here.
Now, shades of Matthew Pekka. In 2013, Matthew Pekka scored a hat trick to send the Bobcats to the national championship. Fillion off to Tellier, and the Sherbrooke boys can't connect their brother-like chemistry. Not pulling off there. Portillo makes the pad save. They're in now. Tellier gets a pass off to Fillion. My apologies, that's Chinecki. Back to Tellier at the right circle, takes a shot, and a tip just goes wide as a trickle through the crease. Fillion behind the net. Fillion off to Tellier, but he can't collect the puck, and now Metza retrieves in his own zone. Metza with a head of steam, cuts through, looking to take a shot on goal. Rister goes up into the netting end. We have a stoppage in play. The Sherbrooke boys had a close opportunity there to put the Bobcats up 3-1, but just miss, and Portillo makes the save.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't know how Portillo kept that one out. I thought from up here it was a sure goal, but we're seeing the replay now. Somehow he got his pad on that one.
Just not enough elevation, right?
He didn't get it up enough, and I know it's a lot to ask when that play happens so quickly, but that looked to be a sure goal, and somehow Portillo is able to get the pad across and mark that one down. If Michigan's able to come back in this one and come away with the victory, that save may have saved the game for them as early as it is in this game.
Yeah, have an effect on that. Now Seamus Casey again tries the same move to cut around, but he's checked off the puck. And now the puck comes out to Hallam at the point. Nazar sends it off to Edwards. Edwards to Casey. Casey shakes and bakes, gets a pass off. Edwards with a quick shot on goal, and it's blockered away. Joey Cipollone looking to get a jump there, but Casey intercepts at the blue line. A toe drag and a shot, and it bounces off of Friedman and wide. A good job blocking that shot there. Friedman, a gritty player for the Bobcats. Joey Cipollone caught hanging. Edwards circles at the point and dumps the puck around the boards. Nazar slow to the puck, and it comes out to Johnson, who tries to send Lombardi into the neutral zone, but 17, 19, and 4 hop off the ice for the Bobcats, and there'll be a line change. Johnson with the puck, head up, sends it off to his partner, Charles Alexis Legault, streaking through the offensive zone, makes a move, takes a shot, and it goes into the netting. Bobcats are doing a good job generating offense against one of the best offensive teams, not only this season, but what Rand Pecknold called possibly all time. He called the 2022 Michigan Wolverines one of the best hockey teams of all time.
Yeah, and he followed it up by saying that this Michigan team isn't too far behind them. So we knew it was going to be on an offensively charged game, and that's why I mentioned in the pregame video that we did that the key here for both teams was going to have to be defense because of how talented offensively both of these squads are. Defense was going to have to be a priority for both teams, and we see already 3 goals scored in this opening period. Not even 15 minutes have passed yet.
Adam Fantilli gets his stick taken away from him from Avari Rossin, and he looks angered by that as he was shut down in the corner. He just had his first shot on goal. A shot, and Peretz, it comes through his pad but bounces the other way out of the net. And now a chip play sends DeYoung. DeYoung with Brindamore. He tries to feather a pass across, but it's broken up by Luke Hughes. And another shot. DeYoung, a tip goes over the net. And he tries to check Hughes off the puck, who collects and uses that big 6'4" frame to get it off to Brantley, who chips the puck out, and Fantilli's line shut down again. And a stoppage of play, a whistle, a high stick on the Bobcats, and it looks like it'll be a draw in their zone.
Well, I really like what I've seen from Quinnipiac so far. 11 shots, 2 goals, and I think they've really caught Michigan off guard here this whole period, it seems, except for maybe a few plays here and there. Michigan has played on their heels. They've been really hesitant to get anything going on their own offensive zone, just 5 shots for the Wolverines. So for Quinnipiac, that's got to be the name of their game this whole night if they're going to come away with a win here.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have to play that gritty style because it's worked thus far. It could get away from them if the skill outshines that style of play from the Michigan Wolverines. And they send the puck out of the zone again. Yanni Peretz collecting, stopping it for Jaden Lee, the senior. Jaden Lee had thoughtful insights on playing in an NHL rink yesterday, as it's his first time doing so. So it's the first time he'll be stepping foot on an NHL ice. He's undrafted. And a shove by Sam Miskevich on Lipkin after the whistle. Looks like the Wolverines have been frustrated by the Bobcats' style of play. And the Bobcats, with their discipline, were able to generate their offense on an early penalty from the Wolverines.
And that's what we talk about as one of the keys for the Bobcats especially, is getting under the skin, frustrating the other teams. That's how they've been so successful all year long, and this Michigan team is no different. And so far, they've been doing that successfully. Michigan, the Wolverine players have looked, their body language and the way that they're kind of shoving back now on the Bobcats, they do look frustrated, and that means Quinnipiac's strategy to this point is working.
Well, they're a team that's won a lot, and they look to win more, as last year they were bumped out of the Frozen Four. They carried a 1-0 lead into a game against Denver and lost, so their trip in the NCAA tournament was ended by those Broncos. And the season before, the Michigan Wolverines did not qualify. So last season they make it, they win the Big Ten championship, and they go to the Frozen Four. This year they win the Big Ten championship over Minnesota, who's another uber-talented team with 2 of the Hobie Baker finalists, Logan Cooley and Matt Nyes, who are both top NHL draft picks as well. And now they're facing the Quinnipiac Bobcats in that final game to try and advance to the national championship. So they've won a lot, and it didn't seem like a lot of people from Michigan, at least talking to them at the Fan Fest, knew where Quinnipiac was.
No, and that just points to how Quinnipiac's being overlooked a little bit, and I think that could be partially because of the fact that now Michigan especially knows for sure, as we get a penalty coming up here against Quinnipiac.
Seamus Casey, another strong move to the net, and he's tripped up by Mike Lombardi. Casey tries to do the toe drag again. He's pulled off virtually the same style of moves the entire game so far. Luke Hughes with the step. He's a great lateral mover. Passes it off and gets it off to Brantley, who takes a shot, and Peretz gloves it. Now the Bobcats penalty will have to come through here as the Michigan Wolverines put a really skilled power play on the ice, but a power play that doesn't even rank in the top 15.
Yeah, 40 for 162 on the year, 24.7% success rate. nothing to sneeze at by any stretch, and Quinnipiac's going to have to be careful here because there's no doubt Michigan's frustrated, and now they've got an extra skater on the ice. So the Bobcats are going to have to play a really sound penalty kill here. But I want to finish the point I was saying earlier that, Michigan fans, when they say they don't even know where Quinnipiac is, I think that all kind of points to that Michigan, their fans, and maybe their players a little bit, did kind of overlook Quinnipiac when they went into this, knowing now that if they were to win tonight and knock off Quinnipiac, they will face Minnesota in the championship game and try to get some redemption against them. And that's a huge mistake if Michigan is doing that, looking ahead to possibly Saturday. And if they're not careful, they might not even get to Saturday. Quinnipiac showed up ready, and so far Michigan hasn't.
And now something else to point out, Adam Fantilli, you're going to be sick of his name by the end of this broadcast, I'm sure, if you're listening in. He's a freshman, 35 games, 10 power play goals. So he's 6th in the nation. Colin Graff is tied 9th with 8 power play goals in 39 games. So Graff was really hot from his one-timer position. He slots at the Ovechkin, Mika Zibanejad type of office for one-timers, but he hasn't scored a power play goal in quite some time, and Adam Fantilli continues to score on the power play with 10 goals. He's 6th in the nation there. Looks like he'll be on the power play unit starting for the Michigan Wolverines, but we'll wait for the TV timeout to usher the teams to come to the center dot.
Yeah, no surprise if he is. He's got a goal in each of his last 2 games. Like we mentioned earlier, a tremendous season. He's sitting on 29 tallies on the season, so his next one, if he were to score one in the next 2 games, if they do get a second one on Saturday, would get to 30. Just a tremendous season for the first-year forward out of Nobleton, Ontario. It's even more remarkable on top of the season he's had that he's a freshman.
It's incredible to think that this is a first year who's playing in the Chicago Steel USHL last year. Now, Michigan has 40 power play goals on the season, so 1/4 of those came off the stick of Adam Fantilli. We also have Rucker McGroarty and Mackie Samoskevich lineup. Mackie Samoskevich has quite the release. He's been considered the most consistent player on the team despite the fact that Fantilli has 64 points on the season. So point machine, definitely NHL caliber player, but Mackie Samoskevich very consistent in the two-way game. Now he sends a pass off to Fantilli, and Fantilli sends a pass to Luke Hughes, goes all the way out of the zone. They were practicing at length yesterday, one-time setups between just Hughes and Fantilli for the open practice. Hughes moving on in, he's shaken off by Johnson, and another defender for the Bobcats helps out. Fantilli, Hughes gets a shot on goal, off his backhand and off the pad. Hughes controlling at the point, sends it down below the dot, sets up Mackie Samoskevich, who was looking for a rip for the left top shelf, but misses the net. Luke Hughes, patience, a pass off to Brindley. Brindley off to Hughes. Hughes, a left shot, pass off to Samoskevich, a righty, sends a puck, hits off the boards. Brendan Moore chips it out to Johnson, who can't get the puck, and a bounce off the stick of Lee helps break up a pass to Fantilli. Brindley takes a shot, and it goes wide. A nice low release, but just went wide of the net. Looks like Peretz got a piece of it from the blocker. Fantilli with the puck, 19. Off to Brindley, who takes a shot, looks for a pass, and it's broken up. Johnson sends it out, and the Bobcats go for a penalty kill change as Portillo, 200 feet down the ice, collects the puck.
Been a good kill so far for the Bobcats, really doing a good job clogging the lanes, not letting Michigan get anything serious generated. A lot of the shots have been from the perimeter, from the blue line there. Hughes is clearly trying to generate a lot of offense from the blue, as he's done all year long, but look out for him because, as we know, and he does too, these are going to be his last games or game as a Michigan Wolverine, so I'm sure he wants to go out with a bang.
The Wolverines get stifled in the slot as there's active sticks from the Bobcats. Friedman now on for the Bobcats as well, one of the best face-off men in the ECAC. Zach Metz in the quarter, 49th captain in team history, tying it up with Friedman. And the puck comes out to Casey. Casey's been dangerous so far this game for the Wolverines. Nazar, 91, tries to send a pass off, but he doesn't connect, and the puck's out of the zone again, and that'll help the Bobcats improve their percentage on the kill. An .861 percentage. Opponents' attempts, 108. They've only surrendered 15 power play goals all season, and another opportunity there. The Bobcats kill off the power play successfully. A Wolverines power play that, although they are 9th in the nation, they probably should be better with the skill that they're deploying.
Yeah, but for Quinnipiac, they just stuck to what's been working all year long. That penalty kill was nothing short of what's worked since October when the season started, and 92 for 107 coming into tonight, and now both of those numbers get bolstered by 1. And this game remains Quinnipiac led 2-1.
Jacob Quillen with 2 goals in this period sends the puck off. tries to get a pass off to Lipkin, but misses. And Jay Karanen sends the puck out of the zone. A stretch pass is missed from Lee to Lipkin. And Wolverines, those two connected on the goal, on the empty net goal that sent the Bobcats to the Frzoen 4 against Ohio State. That celebration taking place in Allentown, Pennsylvania now. What's interesting is the amount of fans that are in this building, 19,000. That's something that both of these programs are not used to. For Yost Arena, 6,000 fans approximately, and for the Bobcats, approximately 3,000. So quadruple that for the Bobcats.
Yeah, I mean, M&T Bank Arena in Hamden is a beautiful facility, and all the players love it, but compared to an NHL rink, which we're in right now, the home of the 3-time Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, that is nothing, and this is tremendous to look at the crowd. A near sold-out crowd. This place is packed in Tampa tonight. So, yeah, these players not used to it, but I'm sure enjoying every second of it.
And now a turnover. Friedman gets a puck loose, but it comes out to Luke Hughes. Hughes with the puck. Friedman tries to check him off, but he's doing a good job quarterbacking through the neutral zone. A pass off. Now Hughes tries to recollect using his frame and speed, but doesn't do so. Gets the puck off. Fantilli gets blocked by Johnson, and the puck comes out of the zone. Mike Lombardi on his horse to chase it down.
Yeah, and that's what the Bobcats have to look out for. That play came out of seemingly nowhere. It was a loose puck behind the net that found Fantilli in the slot there. Quinnipiac got lucky a little bit. They got a lucky bounce. But they're going to have to stay on their toes all night long and prevent opportunities like that, because we saw there how quickly Michigan can pounce.
Brendan Moore chips the puck into the zone, and the back-to-back defensive forwards of the year go after it in Brendan Moore and DeYoung. Now Cicilline, a pass off, bounces off his stick, and falls into the zone as he's taken down by Nordquist. Ivari Rossinen with the puck, heads up, eyes up, he's skating with it. Tries to take Edwards, but chips the puck into the zone. Desi Burgard in. Desi Burgard missed 10 games of time between January and February, has had injuries all season, but when he was slotted into that line against Ohio State, the second first line, as Rand Pecknell will call them, he succeeded. Brendan Moore tries to hit Lee, who sends a puck out, and a shot goes over the net from Zach Metza. The captain couldn't bury it. Sam Miskevich collects, my apologies, that's Nazar, but the horn blows, and the Bobcats skate off the ice with a 2-1 lead over the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, it was a great period for Quinnipiac. Michigan had their opportunities here and there, but overall, that was Bobcat domination in the first 20 minutes of the game tonight from Tampa. Shots 11-8 in favor of Quinnipiac, and if you're Michigan, you know you're getting a pep talk now in the first intermission here. And for Quinnipiac, they're going to have to be ready, because Michigan more than likely will come out a different team in the second period. They are here for a reason. They are a tremendous hockey club, and they were on their heels for the majority of that first period. And Quinnipiac's going to have to be – for Quinnipiac, all they have to do is the same, what they did throughout that whole first period. But they are going to have to be aware that the Wolverines are going to come out of that locker room in the second period, a different team, a hungry team, and not happy. Maybe a little bit with a chip on their shoulder, because odds are they are not happy with how that period went.
Well, that could go two ways, not to predict, but not happy could mean that they take some penalties. It could mean they play undisciplined, or it could mean they channel that into some skill. We saw that against Penn State. They went down 1-0 on the power play to Penn State and managed to come back in that game, tying the game up and winning in overtime. Now, Eric and I will be back. 14 minutes until the second period begins. The Bobcats lead 2-1 in Tampa Bay. Frzoen 4 hockey coming at you in 14 minutes. And we're underway here for the second period. They have a little pregame light show going on before puck drop for the second period. The players, coaches are coming down the tunnels right now to enter the second period of action. The Quinnipiac Bobcats up 2-1 in this hockey game against a team that has won a national championship in 1948, 1951, 52, 53, 55, 56, 64, 96, and 98, and have not won since 98 in the Bobcats. This is just their third Frzoen 4 experience, 2013, 2016, 2023, all under head coach Rand Pecknold. Rand Pecknold's leading Pecknold's pack 2-1 coming into this second period, and it's because of their culture and style of play. Eric, how does that play into this second period of action?
Well, Rand Pecknold always preaches a lot of things, but one of the things he always talks about is detail, and I think that's what we saw out of Quinnipiac in that opening period. Everything they did had a strategy behind it. Every move they made, every pass they made, every shot they took, there was a reason, there was a motive behind it, and I think that's why they find themselves up by 1 here against a really highly touted Michigan team. And one thing that interested me a lot was the face-off totals. Michigan has won 12 face-offs opposed to Quinnipiac's 7, and that shows that although Michigan has won the majority of the draws, Quinnipiac has been tough on the puck. They've been hard to control the puck around, leading to a majority of possession time, even though Michigan leads the face-off record. So I think that just shows that Quinnipiac's really been all over the Wolverines all game long so far. It's only been 1 period, and we'll see how the second period plays out. But so far, everything that the Bobcats have been doing have been tough for Michigan to handle, and I think it shows on the scoreboard.
This is a first-class event, and it's first-class programs on the ice. It's been back and forth, plenty of action, a gritty style against a skilled style, but fantastic hockey in store for this second period. If you listened to us in the first period, we almost couldn't find ways to get words out of our mouths. There was so much action going on as the puck drops, and that second first liner, Rand Pecknold, wins the face-off. Zach Metzik controlling and gets a pass to Desi Burgard. Desi Burgard off to Brendan Moore, and it goes through his legs. Brendan Moore collecting below the circle. Burgard hustling in the corner. A check there, finds DeYoung. Pearson tied up along the boards, an assistant captain for the Wolverines. Pearson, 6'2", 205, Lakeville, Minnesota native. So Minnesota native playing for the Michigan Wolverines, notoriously have a rivalry in the Big Ten. A pass off from Fantilli, tries to find Brinley, but it's cut off by Captain Zach Metza, Delafield, Wisconsin native. And McGroarty comes away with it the other way. Adam Fantilli curls and takes a shot. It's off the shoulder of Peretz and wide. What a release as it comes all the way out of the zone for Portillo to collect. Portillo off to Edwards.
That's that great wrist shot off the stick of Adam Fantilli that we've mentioned all game long. Quinnipiac's got to be ready for it because at Michigan as a whole, their opportunities come out of nowhere, but especially number 19.
Quillen with a heavy check along the bench of the Wolverines. And the Wolverines control. Edwards a shot and it flutters over the net. Tying it up in the corner is Sam Lipkin, a first-year bronze medalist in the World Juniors. Has had a stout playmaking year and is the Rookie of the Year in the ECAC Conference. Colin Graff coming away with it. Led the conference in goals, assists, and points. And he's taken down in the corner, and there's no call. And it looks like the official's arm is up, and it looks like there will be a call. If it's not Edwards, it looks like from here. Not Fantilli. Can't see who's going to the box. TJ Hughes, not related to Luke Hughes or Jack Hughes or Quinn Hughes for that matter, the Hughes brothers of NHL status or his own teammate. TJ Hughes is the first line center for the Michigan Wolverines, and he heads to the box, which means the Bobcats have another power play opportunity.
Yeah, they were unable to score on the first one, but here's another opportunity for them to right that wrong. And they're already up by 1 goal here, so it's a chance to pad the lead, which they're going to need against this Michigan team. They're going to need as much insurance as they can get against the Michigan team that has 4 players at a point-per-game pace. Quinnipiac has 3 of them, so no slight to the Bobcats there, but we know how offensively powered Michigan is, so anything they can get, they will take it, and their second power play of the game, they got to take advantage of it.
A 1-3-1 power play system for the Bobcats. Sees DeYoung on the inside dot. He's the bumper, Lipkin at the point. He'll become the playmaker at the right dot, and Zach Metza controlling at the point with Graff in a one-timer Ovi's office, but the Michigan Wolverines get a jump. Colin Graff cuts it off. Colin Graff, lateral move to DeYoung, gets a pass off to Lipkin, who takes the shot. Graff throws it into the crease, and Portillo covers. A good opportunity. Graff opting to play make, and Portillo stops it under his body.
Well, that was an alert play there by the goaltender from Michigan, Portillo, stopping that pass before it got to the slot, or else that might just have been the third of the game there for Quinnipiac. So great play there from Portillo, one of many from tonight. Although he's given up 2, he's also had some tremendous plays in goal, and a reason his team is only down by 1 right now.
Colin Graff scored plenty this season, but certainly has a total in assists with 36. So he would most likely lead the Bobcats in points last year in just assists alone. DeYoung, the bumper off to Lipkin, who has time and space, has shot, and Portillo gloves that. 6'6", comes back out. Lipkin circles, sends it off to the point to Metza at quarterback. DeYoung circling a toe drag on his backhand, using his body and stance to protect the puck from Moyle. Now he has the puck again. Takes a shot, opts for the forehand after settling it, and it goes just wide of the net. Metza off to Graf. Bobbles off his stick. Head up. Tries to send it down low. Bumps off Nazar's stick. De Jong, it bobbles off of his stick. And it's checked off. Puck sent around the boards. Lipkin can't intercept. And the Bobcats will remain on the ice as the Michigan Wolverines go for a penalty kill line change.
Yeah, that was a good clear there by Michigan as they were hemmed in. They were starting to get a little bit gassed there in their own defensive end, so that was really good for them to get fresh legs on and close out this penalty kill.
De Jong
another clear there.
Bobbles off his stick, and it gets out of the zone again. Yanni Peretz collecting. Christophe Tellier with the puck, one of the two Sherbrooke Boy duo members. He and Fillion on the ice. They were crucial in the win against Ohio State, both recording a goal after the team went down early, 1-0 to Ohio State. Fillion tied the game, driving to the net, and Tellier had a beautiful play where he batted out of the air to himself. Jaden Lee with the puck, North Vancouver native, sends it off to Fillion, and Tellier sends it around the boards. Quillen out to Fillion, out to the point. Lee to Tellier. Tellier has some room to work with. Head up, looking for a pass. Below the circle. Fillion to the net, takes a shot, looking high on Portillo. Looking for some high opportunities, but Portillo's 6'6". A lot of his game reminds me of Ben Bishop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 6'6". That's a tall frame to look at, especially with the pads and whatnot. That's got to be intimidating for any opponent, but right now it's the Bobcats. He is really great at taking a lot of the angles away when he's in goal and in position. Obviously, you get him out of position, that's when Quinnipiac's got to strike. But so far in this penalty kill for Michigan, their defensemen have been in the right spots, clogging the lanes, and when Quinnipiac does get a slightly high-danger opportunity below the dots, Portillo's there to take away the angle and negate the threat. So he's been quality so far to start this game, despite giving up 2 goals.
TJ Friedman with the puck, shakes off Fantilli and circles around the back of the net. Has it at the top of the circle, sends a pass off to Legault, goes over his stick and out of the zone. Friedman with it again. Friedman's been an energizer bunny for this Bobcats team, and his play has been great so far in the postseason, but he's only tallied 2 assists so far. 2 assists that have helped the team win, certainly, but for how well he's played and how many good opportunities and quality opportunities he's had, he's been off the score sheet. Now, Joey Cipollone, 5 of his 7 goals are game winners. So if he scores in this game, that sure could be a good sign for the Bobcats as he's shaking off the puck, and it comes out of the zone. Driving the other way is Rucker McGroarty. Rucker McGroarty off to Fantilli, who makes a move, cuts inside, takes a shot, and it's off the post. Fantilli looks like he thought it was in the net. No review yet. McGroarty's taken down by Ivari Rossinen. No call there as well, to the fans' displeasure, and a stretch pass misses Lipkin out of the zone. And Rossinen has his hands up. I'm not sure if that means there was an arm up somewhere. Officials are gathering and talking. Not sure if it was from a missed call. Here's the Fantilli replay off the crossbar. Fantilli weaved all the way through the zone, got past about 3 defenders. Rampart don't talk about defending in waves yesterday.
He did. He talked about not necessarily playing man-to-man. It's about defending the team as a whole. And right there, Fantilli was able to get an opportunity, and a great one. It's a game of inches, and just about an inch south, that would have been a goal. Lucky for Yanni Peretz, the puck beat him, but not the crossbar, so this remains a 1-goal game.
And the puck comes into the zone for the Bobcats. Jacob Quillen and the York Hill boys line out. Colin Graff takes a shot, and it's blocked by Pearson. Pearson off to Duke, Dylan Duke. A pass, but it's cut off by Quillen and dumped into the zone by Rossinen. Just behind the red line, but Portillo collects. No icing there. Pearson circles, gets it off to Duke, centers it, and a cut move to TJ Hughes. Finds a streaking Sam Miskevich, who takes a shot, and it's blocked and goes wide of the net by Jaden Lee. Puck out to Tellier. Tellier finds Fillion. Tellier with the puck. Sherbrooke boys on the ice. Tellier with room. Pass off to Fillion, who finds Tellier. Takes a shot, and it's blockered away. Sam Miskevich looking for a 2-on-1 with Duke. Can't collect around his own boards in the defensive end, and a mistake. TJ Hughes tries to come up with the puck, and the puck's just bobbling around, and now aimlessly in the defensive end of the Bobcats, Yanni Peretz covers, and a tie up in the corner.
Yeah, good call there by Peretz. That was a chaotic play there from both teams, and the smart thing to do, just to settle things down for really both squads, but from his perspective for the Bobcats, just cover the puck. That will get a break in play as the ice crew comes out and shovels. But it's been a back-and-forth game so far. A lot of opportunities for both teams, and really not much defense, or not much sound defense, I should say. A lot of opportunities below the dots and a lot of pucks getting on the net, which is something that maybe we haven't seen very much, especially from Quinnipiac. They've blocked a ton of shots this year, and so far Peretz has, at least to begin this period, he's had some work to do.
Peretz has certainly had his work cut out for him. Now, a notable alum, Devon Taves, won the Stanley Cup for the Colorado Avalanche on this ice, and he was on the 2016 team that lost the national championship to North Dakota on this ice, to Brock Besser, Drake Caggiula, other NHL notables, in a game where they lost 6-1 in the national championship. Then wins the Stanley Cup in 2022 with the Colorado Avalanche on this ice. And something he said to the team, Mike Lombardi, really took to heart was that it was one of his biggest regrets. So he paid for their dinner the other night when they first came down and after they came off their chartered plane and their first night in Tampa. And he's been speaking to the players and really had an influence on their mental game. And you could see that that's definitely affected their game and how they're playing here tonight. They don't want to live with that regret.
Yeah, how could it not impact you when a Stanley Cup champion says he regrets not winning a national championship for Quinnipiac University? When you're a player for Quinnipiac University, of course, you're going to take that to heart, and I think the team really has. Like I said, Michael Lombardi said it yesterday in the press conference, but I'm sure the whole team has taken that to heart and using that as motivation tonight. And if they were to win tonight, I'm sure they'll keep that in their minds on Saturday if they potentially play Minnesota. But, yeah, Devon Taves that season, 40 games, 7 goals, 23 assists for 30 points, and he played with his brother Tim Clifton that season. So it was a special year nonetheless for Devon Taves. But, yeah, no national championship for him. And it definitely says a lot when you're a Stanley Cup champion and you still regret not winning the NCAA tournament.
Amalie Arena is only home to one professional team, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. The only other professional team to play here, the Toronto Raptors in the COVID year where the NBA had to move them. Now Luke Hughes makes a beautiful move at the point, takes his shot, a long-range shot, hits off the pad of Skylar Brindamore. So Jack Hughes, brother of Luke in the NHL, and Skylar Brindamore, former NHLer and head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. Luke Hughes weaving through the zone, gets a pass off, and it's dumped in. Circles around the board. Cicilline in on the forecheck alongside the third line of the Wolverines. They're an energy line for this Wolverines team, and they provided that all season in Nazar, Hallam, and Cicilline. On the backhand, a shot from Nazar is sticked wide by Yaniv Peretz. Comes out to the point. Casey with the puck, weaves, gets past Brindamore and sends a pass off to Brindamore, who takes a shot, bobbling, and Yanni Peretz comes up with a big save.
Well, he's standing tall so far. Just 1 goal against on 10 shots. That might have been 11. I'm not sure if the scoreboard has updated for that shot yet. But we've seen to start this period, Michigan has started to turn the tide a little bit, as we mentioned at the closing of the first period, that they might do that because they are a highly talented team. They're here for a reason, just like Quinnipiac. And they had a rough first period, so you'd expect them to come out in this second frame and really put the pressure on, and so far they have. Peretz has stood tall, and he's going to have to keep doing so because Michigan, it seems, is just getting their legs going.
And now Friedman's hit on the outlet. Friedman tries to feather it off, and it goes into the Wolverine zone. Brindley coming back on defense as the center comes around, and he gets a jump, but it's cut off by Metza. Metza circles the puck to Friedman, tries to get in the zone past Brindley. Rossinen keeps the puck on a one-handed stick play. Tries to feed Lipkin, but it goes all the way around the board. Cipollone can't retrieve, and that line will change. Bobcats, puck comes 200 feet down the other way, and Peretz has to cover as Brindley's first on the forecheck. So Brindley's been all over the ice. He has 38 points this season. He's a Florida native as well, so he'll be playing here in Tampa, Florida as a Florida native. We saw Seamus Casey, a Florida native, score the opening goal. Florida's footprint's all over this game.
Yeah, if that becomes a trend, then I guess expect number 4 to get on the board at some point. He's already got 12 on the season, 26 assists for 38 points in just 40 games. So just under a point per game player, and he's eligible for the 2023 NHL draft that's upcoming this June. So it'll be interesting to see if the first-year forward gets a nod from any one of the NHL teams. He's had a terrific year.
Now the puck comes out. Jaden Lee tries to chip it off the wall and succeeds in doing so. It goes down the ice. And Pearson collects. And in the neutral zone, Jacob Quillen makes a play. The York Hill boys line on for the Bobcats. And the Wolverines start on their own end, but Quillen comes away with it. Quillen with the puck on his backhand tries to send a pass across to Mike Lombardi. doesn't succeed in doing so. Mike Lombardi, a strong power forward for the Bobcats in his 5 years in Hamden for the Hamden Heavyweights. Lombardi in on the forecheck. He's kept his legs moving and had his physical brand and impact in this game so far off the puck. Puck comes below the Bobcats net, and DeYoung comes away with it. Ethan DeYoung with the puck, cuts through neutral zone, cuts to center. On his backhand, feathers pass across, but it's broken up. And Mike Lombardi's dumped off hard. It looks like his helmet almost came off. Legault off to Rossinen. And a pass comes through. A broken 2-on-1. And a pass just misses Ethan DeYoung. Legault, a shot, and it's patted away by Portillo. Johnson, another shot on net. A rebound comes out, and it's jamming away. It looked like DeYoung got my apologies, Desi Burgart got an open whack at it on a wide open net. And Portillo came up with a stuff Legault over the net. Comes around the boards. Johnson with the puck. A pass off to DeYoung. DeYoung, head up, sauces it across dangerously. 2 defenders for the Wolverines, and a hard check comes from Dylan Duke, who's at the red line, looking for an outlet. Hughes with the puck, weaves around DeYoung easily, using that big frame and wingspan. 3 Bobcats cut in to close him off, and Chinecki comes away with the puck. Tries to chip it, but he gets dumped hard into the Bobcats zone. And he falls on his butt, but he gets back up. A play by Edwards, tried a skill play, and the play's broken up. Chinecki on net, and it goes wide as the Bobcats are doing a good job in transition. Tellier off, tries to kick it to himself, and it's picked up in the Wolverines' end and dumped into the zone by TJ Hughes, and they look for a change.
Yeah, Quinnipiac started this period a little bit on their heels, but I think they've done a great job of turning the tides back in their favor for the time being. They've been putting the pressure on for the last few minutes, and that's what you like to see from the Bobcats, not letting Michigan get under their skin, as we talk about Quinnipiac having to do to the Wolverines.
Agreed. I think the Bobcats have found a way to swing things in their favor as they rode off that strong wave from a really skilled Michigan Wolverines team. I think something that we haven't talked about yet is how many prospects are on this team, how many players have played in the World Juniors so far. We have Casey, a first-year, 46 overall, New Jersey. Sam Miscavige, 24th overall in 2021. He's a sophomore. Luke Hughes, sophomore, 4th overall, New Jersey. Edwards, sophomore, 120th overall, New Jersey. And the list goes on and on.
Yeah, it's really astounding, and it just shows why the team is so successful. As I'm looking at the roster sheet now, it's 10 skaters on just on the starting lineup here, the starting roster that have been drafted by an NHL team. 3 of those players have been drafted by New Jersey. So that'll be good for them on a personal level to when they all eventually do start playing for the Devils. They'll have been teammates. They have history playing together here for the Wolverines, and that'll come in handy for them, like I said, on a personal level. But from a team perspective, that's huge for Michigan, and it just shows why they had such a good year after year after year.
It's just a different way to approach the game. Rand Pecknold's coaching at the college level, and granted, those players might go to the NHL, but right now they're looking to play for a national championship here in Tampa, Florida, and Mike Lombardi tries to shake Luke Hughes, who gets a nice pass off and a score! Adam Fantilli, a one-timer off the draw, and it's 2-2. Luke Hughes finds him, feathers it for a one-timer off the circle, top shelf on Yanni Peretz. 9:54 remains in the second period as they tied, and we have ourselves a tie hockey game. It's all knotted up at 2s apiece.
Well, that's what we mentioned at the top of this broadcast. The 2 players that we've talked about the most all night long, Adam Fantilli and Luke Hughes, and what do you know? The pass from 43 Luke Hughes over to Adam Fantilli, the one-timer, beats Peretz. No chance on that one. We've got a tie game in Tampa once again on Michigan's 13th shot of the evening. 2-2, 9:45 to go in the second period, and it's back to square one.
Does that say second overall draft pick to you? It's 2-2 in period 2. 15 shots on goal for the Bobcats, 13 by the Wolverines, and their 13th finds a way past Yanni Peretz. They get a shot on net, and it's covered. The Wolverines fans excitable in Amalie Arena as they're back in this game. It's all knotted up. It's anyone's game at this point. We talked about riding the wave. Who has the advantages? It's 0-0 now as the TV time out comes through. Gives us a breather certainly in the booth up here and the players on the ice, as it's been a physical hockey game. One of the best I've seen so far from each team, each program this year.
This has been a great game for both teams, and 2-2 now in the second period. It's been pretty even. I think overall Quinnipiac's probably controlled most of the the zone time and the puck possession, but nonetheless, we've got a tie game here. Shots 15-13 in favor of the Bobcats. Fantilli there, I mean, that was a blistering shot. I don't know what else Peretz could have done there, unless he turned into prime Marty Brodeur or Dominic Hasek, but his 30th of the year, his 65th point. As I mentioned before, playing in a point-per-game pace by a mile. And he had 1 goal in each of his last 2 games coming into tonight. So now that's 3 goals in his last 3 games. And this one isn't even, or it's just over halfway done, assuming we don't have overtime. So he's continued his amazing season. He hasn't let the playoffs or this atmosphere of 19,000 in attendance get to his head. And he's still just doing what he does. And just been great for Michigan and a huge reason why they've been so successful.
30th goal of the season for Fantilli. Came up big by tying the game against Penn State in Allentown a game ago for the Michigan Wolverines to help send them to this very place from Allentown, a cold regional final there, to Tampa, Florida. Beautiful Tampa, Florida. It's been in the 90s this week. So they go from that cold weather climate, fly down here, tallies a goal, ties this game up. Does that mean the Tide could go in the Wolverines' favor?
It could. We always say goals breed more goals, and it doesn't necessarily state for what team. That this could put a chip on the shoulder of the Bobcats and turn the Tide in their favor. But I think more often than not, you'd say that a goal for Michigan will potentially put the momentum in the favor of the Wolverines. And if that goal was any indication, that whole play was beautiful from the Wolverines. So if that's any indication of what's to come, Quinnipiac's got to buckle down and play some sound defense, because that was a great play from the Wolverines there. Hughes to Fantilli.
Desi Burgard on the ice. He's played quite well so far in his game this evening. He recorded a goal to cut the lead against Michigan last year on a great net front play. So this is a physical line, a dirty goals, a lunch pail type of line. Burgard, DeYoung, Brindamore on the ice right now, battling along against Nazar Cicilline. In the offensive end is the Wolverines. Luke Hughes with the puck. Off to Hollum. Hollum sends it off to Hughes, who takes a shot, and it's blocked away by Peretz, who lost sight of it. Legault circles the boards to DeYoung. Tries to chip it to himself, but Luke Hughes comes away with it, and the Bobcats turn it over. Rossinen streaking on in to DeYoung. DeYoung makes a move, cuts to the middle. 3-on-2, a shot, a rebound, comes to Lipkin's stick, but pops over it. And now the Wolverines come in 3-on-2. Johnson with the check. Checks Moyle, he loses control and balance, but gets back to his feet. DeYoung collects off his backhand, can't get the puck out. Moyle with the puck on his backhand, comes out in front, a set play, a backhand, and it's out in front. And it's still jammed up. A shot from the point goes wide, and the rebound comes out. Very similar to how the miracle occurred, but Lipkin ties it up behind the net. Zach Betzel with the puck, 49th captain in team history. An All-American last season. Gets the puck off to his teammate Jake Quillen, who stood up by Edwards at the blue line. Seamus Casey, a check from Portillo on Lipkin is not called. The goaltender got in the way and interfered with Lipkin. He's trailing the play now in the defensive, coming back into the defensive zone. And a pass off to the point to Duke is broken up, and now Colin Graff streaking on in. He gets possession, shoots, and Portillo makes the save. Casey comes away with the puck. The ECAC leader in goals stifled by Portillo, and Peretz collects to Nordquist. Nordquist on his forehand, up the boards, and another play finds Cipollone. Cipollone gets to the net, sticked away by Portillo easily, and Fillion's jammed up in the corner. Dylan Duke weaving through the neutral zone, head up, stutters, and a block from Lee. Jaden Lee has 52 blocks. He's first on the team and first on the Bobcats in blocks, and leads the team by 14 block shots. And Fillion's tripped up a little bit into the zone, and a hard check on Pearson in the corner. Cipollone chasing after Samoskevich with Friedman. Cipollone at his feet. Puck comes away to Samoskevich again, and he controls. TJ Hughes, a chip. Yanni Peretz blockers it away. Zach Metza surveying his options. Up the same side of the boards to Cipollone. Touches off his stick, and Portillo collects 200 feet the other way. Number 1 circles it off to a defender. And the puck bobbles over Brinley's stick, but he gains speed and is now cutting through the neutral zone as Adam Fantilli feeds him. Fantilli, a shot from Brinley, and it's saved by Peretz on a tough angle. No defenders on. Brinley got the puck to the net, looking for a rebound.
Well, the pace of play has gone up a little bit recently. You'd expect that in a game like this. Now that it's tied in the stage that this game is, you'd expect that it'll get a little out of hand at times. And that one play just from a few minutes ago, we haven't gotten a whistle since then, so we haven't been able to talk about it. But the miscue there by the blue line by Dylan Duke that sent Colin Graff on his way in alone on the goaltender Portillo, that was just an unfortunate break there for Michigan. But luckily, Portillo has really settled in here since the first 2 goals that he gave up in the first period, and he stood tall on that breakaway. And again, mark that one down if Michigan's able to come away with a victory here. That was a huge stop to keep this game tied.
Portillo certainly has stepped up to the plate despite the fact that he has allowed 3 goals a game this season. Now, that's the style the Wolverines want to play, a shootout. Now, Brindley comes in on his backhand. He uses his body to surf some checks and a pass off to Hughes. Indirect pass. He collects on his forehand. On his backhand, sends it to the point to McGroarty. Rugged McGroarty, a Winnipeg Jets draft pick, and was on the World Juniors team that ran Pecknold coach. Now, Desi Burgart below the circle sends a pass off to Brindamore to start the breakout. And Jaden Lee pops over his stick and a shot, a save on McGroarty from Yaniv Peretz. Finds Colin Graff streaking the other way. And a pass off. Brindamore with the puck, tries to toe drag, but it's broken up in that shift. That line looks tired for the Bobcats. Ivari Rossinen on McGroarty. 2-on-2 in the corner. Adam Fantilli's checked by Tellier, and the puck goes into the netting and out of play.
Well, the goalies are going tit for tat here with huge saves. Peretz stands tall on a point-blank opportunity there for the Wolverines, again, to keep this game tied with 5.5 to go in the second period. Shots have now been evened up at 18 apiece. So we said at the end of the first period that Michigan was most likely going to come out a different team in the second period, and it's safe to say that they absolutely have.
Now in the dot is Mike Lombardi with TJ Friedman. My apologies. That's Chinekiner with the Sherbrooke boys from Quebec, Canada. They are from the same town. They played together their whole lives. They're on the back check now as they lost the draw. And the Cicilline-Nazar line is going to work. Chinekiner comes away with it. He's streaking through the neutral zone on his forehand. Gets a pass off to Fillion. My apologies, that's Metza. Metza tries to get a shot through, but it's broken up, and the puck comes all the way out to Johnson, number 3 for the Bobcats, former RPI engineer. In his first national tournament appearance, Tellier shakes the puck. Number 29 sends it around the boards, and Chinekiner is hunting for it. Johnson ties things up in the corner, but it comes out, and now Nazar's moving on in. A 2-on-1, tries to get a pass off to Holland, but Tellier comes away with it. Things have really opened up here, as you mentioned, Eric.
Well, that was a great diving play there by Metza. It's always a risk to dive as a defenseman on an odd man rush there, but Metza timed it perfectly to disrupt that pass and negate the threat from Michigan.
Lipkin made a really good play in the slot to disrupt the breakout of the Michigan Wolverines. Quillen tried to gain possession, and the Wolverines have iced the puck. They're donning navy tonight. Normally they're maize and blue, and the Bobcats are gold and navy blue as well, but they're gold, not maize. Michigan is famously maize. They're donning the gold tonight because they are the higher seed in this tournament, and the Michigan Wolverines would probably argue that they deserve to be, but the national rankings don't really mean much in tournament play.
Yeah, and they could probably make that argument pretty good that they deserve to be the home team, but it is what it is. Quinnipiac is ranked number 2, Michigan 3, although Michigan is the highly favored team in this matchup.
Mike Lombardi had a perfect opportunity on a wrister off the draw, and it just went wide of the net. Lombardi, aforementioned forward, collects the puck. Friedman sends it into the zone and reverse checks Pearson, who tried to throw the body. TJ Friedman, a big boy, goes and throws another check. Cipollone in the corner. Joey Bagadonis going to work with TJ Friedman. Friedman, the St. Louis native, coming away with the puck. Has it on his forehand. Sends it to Lombardi, who tees up a shot. And a rebound comes out, and Friedman tries to crown and get a shot off, and it's in the crease. Cipollone can't get a stick on it, and it comes out. Sam Miskevich skating, head up, through the neutral zone, and a pass off to himself, but Nordquist shakes him off, does a great job rubbing him out, and a breakaway opportunity for Friedman, but he couldn't pick his head up in time in the neutral zone to collect, and the puck comes out to Dylan Duke, number 25. Sam Miskevich evades Nordquist. Puck comes out to the point. Casey takes a shot, and it gets through, and it's off the shoulder of Peretz. Looks like it hits the number 1 on his jersey and comes the other way as Brindamore tries to shake off Edwards and does a pretty good job of doing so, forcing him to weave in and out of his own zone. Edwards moving with the puck, 73. Dishes a pass off, comes out to TJ Hughes. TJ Hughes head up. Low center of gravity off to Casey, but it's broken up, and DeYoung tries to jump a breakaway but doesn't get enough speed on it. And he's tripped up. No call there, Desi Burgart. Shadowing Sam Miskevich with DeYoung. You can see they're trying to defend him in layers as well as TJ Hughes. They go to look for a breakaway jump, but they miss. Jaden Lee in the corner off his backhand, sends it into the neutral zone and get the puck out and set up some sort of offense. Nordquist up the boards, but it just misses DeYoung's stick, and it'll be an icing as there's another draw on the Bobcats' defensive end.
Yeah, and the Bobcats have to be careful here. They've been on their heels for the last few minutes, and now they're unable to make a line change, so they're going to have those worn-out legs on the ice for at least another draw here. And that icing was a sign that Michigan has really been putting the pressure on, making Quinnipiac play on their heels and not really able to generate anything in their own offensive zone. The puck has been on the left side of the ice there from our vantage point for a while now, and Michigan has really turned it on in the second period.
Adam Fantilli facing off against Skylar Brindamore. Luke Hughes with a shot from the point as he goes down, but it goes over the net. And a call on the Bobcats as Jacob Nordquist trips up Rucker McGroarty in the corner. And with 2:35 remaining in the second period, the Bobcats will have to defend another power play of the Wolverines.
Yeah, and I'm sure Nordquist isn't happy with that, and looks like he's tripping at the ref right now, but I don't think the ref could let that one go. We talk about letting the boys play. That one was right in front of them. It was a blatant call, so I don't think they could really let that one go by without a call. So the Bobcats are going to have to go back to the penalty kill for the second time tonight. They were successful on the first go-around. We'll see what they can do on this one with just 2.5 to go in the second period.
They have different officiating squads for each of these games. That way there's a rotation and there's no bias. I'm sure officials aren't really calling bias by conference or what conference they work in, but Jeremy Tuff, Stephen Rouillard have not called an ECAC game this year, so they will be officiating this game. They have been officiating this game and call Nordquist for a trip as he tripped up Rucker McGroarty, and Winnipeg Jets draft pick in the corner of his defensive end. And with 2:35, they'll gather a 2-minute power play. The Bobcats have done a pretty good job on the penalty kill thus far tonight, but they'll face their biggest test as the tide hasn't necessarily turned 100% and the ice hasn't tilted all the way in Michigan's favor, but it certainly has seemed that the last few possessions the Wolverines have thrown things the other way.
Yeah, the last few sequences definitely have been in Michigan's favor, and that's what the Bobcats have to – look, it's still a tie game. This isn't lost by any stretch by the Bobcats. They just have to get back to the way they've played in the first period, and they can do that because they did it already. The first 20 minutes, they owned that opening period. So they have to get back to that style of play, and Michigan obviously has been – they've adapted, and they're playing differently. So if Quinnipiac has to tweak a few things, then so be it. Teams do that, and good teams are able to successfully, and they still find ways to win. So if you're the Bobcats, you just got to find a way to hold Michigan off on this penalty kill and head to the locker room in the second intermission, at least tied up. And they can do that. They've had a great year so far on the penalty kill. They've been really great, as has Michigan, at clogging the lanes, blocking shots, doing all the things we talk about, sacrificing the body, doing anything to prevent the puck from even getting to your goaltender, and then any chance you get to clear the puck, rifling that thing out of there. So Quinnipiac's had success this year on the penalty kill, and they're going to have some more here with 2:35 to go in the period and a 2-minute penalty to kill off.
Johnson throws it around the zone. We just came off of a beautiful salute to service. I did not expect the applause to go for that long. The whole building was on their feet for that salute to our military service members here in Amalie Arena. Now this is because there's a fort that's down here, so there are many military retirees and military officials that are currently here right now because Tampa was actually founded as a military base during the Civil War.
Yeah, that tribute was nice. I'm not going to lie. I almost lost my train of thought a few times while I was talking because I was trying to watch it too.
It lasted for quite some time. It was that whole TV timeout, yeah. Zach Metza gets it out and goes to get into position again on the defensive end. Wolverines set up. Friedman trying to cut off Hughes, but Hughes has done a fantastic job with his lateral movement, getting pucks into the zone as a quarterback. McGroarty with the puck, number 2 for the Wolverines, sends a pass off to Brindley. Brindley, 38 points on the season, sends it off to Hughes. Hughes collects on his forehand, a left shot. to Sam Miskevich. Sam Miskevich, a shot and a rebound. Yanni Peretz with a big save. Brindley again takes another shot on the rebound, and he comes up huge. Yanni Peretz coming up with 2 big saves there as Zach Metza clears.
Well, we talk about the Florida-born players, and Brindley comes oh so close to giving Michigan a lead there and getting his name on the board in this contest.
And for reference, Luke Hughes is 9th in the nation in points with 47. As a defenseman, 10 goals and 37 assists. Zach Metz is not too far behind him with 8 goals this season, and Metz has certainly had an All-American season. But for leaderboard here, NCAA points, Adam Fantilli number 1, Colin Graff number 4, Luke Hughes number 9, and Mackie Samoskevich number 15. We saw Matt Brown tied for 11th in the nation in the game before as well. Jimmy Snuggeroo, Logan Cooley, and Matthew Nice all aligned together for Minnesota. They advance to the championship, so the winner of this game will play them. They are all in the points leaderboard. It definitely has been a year where the best teams in the nation are in the Frozen Four.
Yeah, there's just so much offensive talent, especially in this game. There's 7 players on the ice tonight, 4 from Michigan, 3 from Quinnipiac, that are playing at a point-per-game pace. For Michigan, McGroarty, Samoskevich, Fantilli, and Luke Hughes. And for the Bobcats, Ethan DeYoung, Colin Graff, and Sam Lipkin all playing at least a point-per-game pace. And that just shows the highly offensive talent that both of these teams possess. And a reason we've got, although it's a deadlock, 4 goals tonight in just under 2 periods of play.
Casey weaved through the Bobcats defense again, but gets tied up and checked into the corner. They're still killing off this penalty. There's 2 seconds left of the man advantage, and the Bobcats will opt to change their lineup to get to the York Hill boys on the ice. Zach Metza, Desi Burgart, Sam Lipkin, and Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson's been invaluable to this team this year and definitely has gone quiet, hasn't garnered as much media attention as you'd think for a player that's been thrusted into the top 3, replacing Griffin Mendel from last season. Desi Burgard in the face-off dot, gets a pass off to Johnson, and Metza collects. They kill the penalty off, and the pass comes out to Nordquist out of the box, but goes all the way around, and it'll be an icing. So they ice the puck as their defenseman and penalty taker comes out of the box.
Well, again, they are able to get puck possession in the defensive end, but then Michigan makes it tough for them to get an outlet pass and generate anything offensively, and that's why Michigan has really taken control of the second period. And luckily for Quinnipiac, they were able to kill off that penalty, and now they just have to survive 29 more seconds of this middle period until they get to potentially the third at a tie game.
Rucker McGroarty off the draw to Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes dipping into the Bobcats' end and gets a pass off to himself to set himself up in the corner. A pass off, but Johnson intercepts. Jake Quillen, my apologies, Sam Lipkin tries to bounce it off to himself, and Lipkin's going to work the Lafayette Hill native. Puck comes out of the zone, and Seamus Casey comes away with it. Number 26 on his backhand, dishes it off to Fantilli. Fantilli head up. Pass off the wall, and Graff can't come away with it. Goes into the offensive end. McGroarty is checking Metza in the corner. Slashed him twice as he went there, and Metza holds him along the boards. A little bit of a scuffle, but the horn blows, and now we are knotted at 2. The only goal that period coming off of Adam Fantilli's stick to tie things up. A shootout game has now settled in a little bit, and for the Bobcats, they surrender a goal on an Adam Fantilli one-timer, his 30th goal of the season, something that we felt may have come this game.
Yeah, I think Quinnipiac can count themselves lucky that they only surrendered 1 goal in that middle period, and they're going to head to the third in a tie game here, because that period was mostly Michigan. They came out, as we mentioned at the closing of the first period, a totally different team. They really tilted the ice in their favor, not to the point where it was complete domination, but you can definitely put that period in the win column for Michigan. 1 goal, none for Quinnipiac, and we got a tie game headed to the third.
Hockey is a game where you have to win every shift, every period. As you just mentioned, try to win every face-off, every boards battle, every puck battle, every forecheck. And with the knotted game, we will be on the radio again in 15 minutes to see who will advance to the Frozen Four with this game all knotted up. Matthew Mugno and Eric Zank on the call here in Tampa, Florida for QBSN. Join us in 15 minutes for the third period, the telling period, the period to advance Michigan or the Bobcats to the Frozen Four National Championship. This is what miracles are made of. 19,000 fans are in attendance right now in Amalie Arena, Florida. Tampa Bay, the Frzoen 4, the pinnacle of college hockey, youth hockey in America, the step before professional. We have ourselves a tie game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Quinnipiac Bobcats down in Jungle Land. The team that scores a goal next may advance to the national championship game against the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday evening. Tonight here on Thursday evening, it's all knotted up. The biggest period of all these players' lives on the line right now. One of these players on each team has the game-winning goal on their stick. One of the goaltenders in net will surrender that. And the Bobcats take the ice, the Wolverines following. Portillo's foot, and here we go. Both teams have taken the ice. Eric Zank, Matthew Mugno here on the call for QBSN, third period of action. The biggest game in the Quinnipiac Bobcats' recent history. And what is the story here?
I think we're going to see the best period of hockey from both of these teams all year long tonight. They are right here because they know what's on the line. One goal in this period, even if it's in the first minute, could be the difference. The way both of these teams have been playing, yeah, it's been an offensively charged game. There's been 4 goals scored, 2 aside. But they've both been strong defensively, even though the puck has, both teams have had their defensive, mishaps and whatnot. And both teams have had really, really strong offensive surges. But they've still been strong defensively, clogging the lanes, blocking shots, doing the right things, even when the puck crosses their defensive zone blue line. So I think it's going to be really tough, whoever surrenders the first goal of this period, to come back and score 2 more to be able to get ahead in this thing, assuming the other team doesn't get another of their own. So I really think that this period is going to be the most tight-checking, best hockey from both of these squads all year long.
Puck is dropped, and we have a 2-on-1. Brindley on his backhand sends a shot through, but it goes wide of Peretz on a feed from Fantilli. Here we are. It's third period of action, 2-2. Pearson at the point off to Hughes. Hughes takes a shot, and it goes wide. Adam Fantilli collecting and cycling it back through. Zach Metza gets a stick on it, tries to feed DeYoung, who's hustling Luke Hughes at the point. Luke Hughes almost bumped out of the zone, and DeYoung closing him off. That defensive first line for the Bobcats. The first to start as Desi Burgart tracks a puck down, hunting down Pearson. Pearson spins off. Assistant captain of the Michigan Wolverines, number 20, sends it off to Brindley. Number 4, Brindley on his backhand sends it in, and he goes for a change. Missed on a prime opportunity, cutting to his backhand to get a proper angle to beat Peretz, and he sent the puck just wide. Quillen tries to find Graff on an outlet, and it's broken up by Edwards in the neutral zone. Lipkin coming away, and Casey gets a stick, jumps. Seamus Casey moving in, on the forehand, takes a shot, and it's patted away. Looks for a wraparound, takes a shot, and it's off the shoulder of Peretz as he tracked that real well. Saw that the whole way. A pass off the boards, hits Graff. Colin Graff takes a shot, and it's stopped by Portillo, and the rebound came in, and it banks off the back of him, and they score! Sam Lipkin, a minute into the period, and the Bobcats are up 3-2. The York Hill boys come through again tonight.
Well, every championship team will tell you that they didn't win it without some luck, and that was something there from Quinnipiac. The puck luck for that to come off the boards, off the goaltender, and go across the line. It was unbelievable. I'm not even sure. We didn't know it went in until everyone started celebrating. That it came out of nowhere, but nonetheless it counts. And Quinnipiac now, early in this third period, find themselves up a goal.
Another almost similar, like you said, we didn't realize it went in from up here. Sam Lipkin bounces it off the boards. Same exact play as the Quillen goal to open this game at 1-0. Now, 18:36 remain on the clock. There's plenty of hockey left, but Sam Lipkin knots this thing up. My apologies. Takes the lead, 21 shots. The shots are knotted up. Taking the lead on that, Sam Lipkin. What a goal in the big moment to start the period, and now the Wolverines are on their heels. The Bobcats have the lead, and they'll have to really shut things down here against the Wolverines team who has uber talent.
Yeah, I mean, we said the tables turned in the second period. Now they're down by a goal here in the third. They know time is going to wind down fairly fast. It tends to go faster when you're down a goal. So the Wolverines are going to come out here probably even tougher than they did in the second period. So Quinnipiac's going to have to be ready. For Lipkin, though, that's his 14th of the year, his 40th point in his 38th game.
Joey Cipollone in, takes a shot, and it's patted away on an in-zone turnover. Cipollone with the puck. It cycles. Friedman on his backhand, below the dots. Friedman dishes it off and misses, and the pass is cut off. Luke Hughes with the puck, and it hits an official, and it hits the official again, and Mike Lombardi makes a move, and he's tripped up. Now in on a 2-1, sends a pass off to Cipollone, who takes a shot, and it rolls off his stick. Joey Cipollone tries to get it in front. Mike Lombardi with the puck, cycles it. Cipollone behind the net, tries a backhand feather to Friedman. Mike Lombardi with the puck. Lipkin, the goal scorer, just announced on the big board. Amalie Arena has one of the biggest jumbotrons in America. Luke Hughes sends it around the boards, but it's picked off and sent through the slot. Zach Metza collecting at the point. Inches off to the blue line and sends it in on a sauce on his forehand, and a wraparound comes out in front, and Portillo's almost surprised again. Holland with the puck, rolls off his stick, comes away, and dumped in by Luke Hughes. But a bad change from the Wolverines again. That's the second time that's happened this game where they looked like they were on a bad change, and the puck is sent all the way into the Bobcats' end, and it's an icing, so the Bobcats will have the face-off.
Yeah, well, they've come out in this third period a totally different team. Quinnipiac has. The first period, I'd say, was all Bobcats. The second was the total opposite. I'd say Michigan had complete control of that period, or near complete control. And this third period, granted, just about 3 minutes have gone by, and we've got just under 17 to go. But Quinnipiac has come out the better team so far in this final frame, and I don't know what Rand Pecknold said in the second intermission there, but whatever it was obviously worked, because this is a totally different team than we saw in the second period, and I'd say right now even better than what we saw in the first.
Skylar Brindamore chasing and checks a Wolverines forward hard into the boards, and we'll have another draw. Skylar Brindamore is a great face-off winner for the Bobcats. He's the #1 face-off man in the entire ECAC conference this season, was the defensive forward of the year, and his numbers certainly jumped up this year in terms of production as they have the last few seasons.
Yeah, he's had a great year. I think the son of Rod Brindamore, Stanley Cup champion in 2006 with Carolina, and a huge reason Quinnipiac going into tonight has won 57.2% of their draws. He's had a great year in the face-off dot especially.
Seamus Casey coming away with it, shooting through the neutral zone, and it's broken up by Brindamore, who gets checked hard. And another body falls to the ice. Ethan DeYoung, 1-on-4, tries to make a play in the neutral zone, hits off his shin pad, and now comes all the way back. Edwards sends a puck in, and Johnson collects. Johnson, puck on his stick, weaves, uses the net as a decoy. On his forehand, settles, gets the puck off, and now Brindamore is in. Brindamore gets the puck, takes a shot on a winding wrister, and it goes wide. Edwards going through the neutral zone. A setup and a shot from McGroarty, but it's saved again by Peretz up high. Pearson takes a long-range shot, and it looks like it might flutter in, but it goes high and wide. McGroarty stops and starts at the point and gets the puck down low. Ivari Rossinen chips it off the boards to himself and starts the play. Adam Fantilli on him, gets the puck in his forehand and chips it in, hits off the official, but Peretz collects. Sends it around the boards to Graff. Graff and Fantilli both on the ice right now. York Hill boys. And Quillens to the puck, chips it past a defender, and Portillo just makes a routine save. Puck comes out. Brinley in on after it. Brinley's had some jump this game, has definitely been an energy source for the Wolverines. Quillen in. Goes for a check on Luke Hughes and succeeds, and a pass comes out, and a toe drag, and Colin Graff is lit up by Pearson, and he goes off the ice, and his stick goes flying as Fillion loses it. Sam Miskevich in, shakes off 2 defenders, now 3, and the puck comes through the legs of a forward, and TJ Friedman comes away with it. TJ Friedman, head up, gets the pass off to Fillion. Fillion takes a shot, and looking for a tip. Portillo makes the save with his blocker. And now it comes the other way. TJ Hughes, number 13, for the Wolverines. Tries to get past Jaden Lee, but Jaden Lee stands his ground, and another heavy check comes in, but he shakes that off, and a check from Legault. The puck squeaks out into the corner. Pearson off to Holtz. Holtz, a defensive defenseman, sends the puck in and around the zone. Legault checking a Wolverine. Tellier sends the puck out of the zone to go for a line change. The Bobcats make a routine change. Cicilline sends the puck in to the zone, 93, A New York Rangers throw around pick, sends a pass out in front. Seamus Casey gets the puck knocked off. His stick by Chinekinair. Responsible play by Chinekinair. Number 14 for the Bobcats has played great all season. Defensive end and a penalty. A weak call. Looks like it'll send the Wolverines to the power play. A really weak call. Looked like either a trip or a hook. A slashing call in a game like this. That is a strange penalty to call. Looked like for all the cross checks that have occurred and potential trips, that was not a call that I thought would be assessed a penalty.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That was, I mean, we talk about letting the boys play, but if you're going to do that, you got to be consistent for both sides. And I'm not saying the referees are biased by any stretch, but that was, I think earlier in the game we saw a lot of calls that they decided to bite the whistle on and just let go by that were probably more blatant than that one was. So, yeah, that one's that you could definitely argue if you're Quinnipiac that should have gone by without any consequence. But it is what it is. They're headed to the penalty kill. They've gone 2 for 2 on the kill so far tonight. So it's going to be important to fend off Michigan here, who's down a goal, obviously hungry for that tying goal. They know their season would end with a loss tonight. And they've got 14 minutes to tie this thing up, and a great opportunity here, a power play for the Wolverines. So the Bobcats are going to have to buckle down here these next 2 minutes of their penalty kill.
You have a TV timeout, so the Wolverines get a breather and the Bobcat Killers get a breather, as I'm sure their chest is probably real tight, not only from the physical activity and cardio involved in the game of ice hockey, but from the position they're in. They just announced on the big screen, sold out crowd, 19,000 in attendance. Biggest arena some of these players, biggest stage they've ever played on in the biggest games of their career. I'm sure the pressure is certainly knocking on the door in this third period.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is one of the biggest arenas in the National Hockey League. Forget the NCAA. So this is a huge moment for these players, and I'm sure that just adds to the pressure of the game itself, the game within the boards and the glass. When you look up and you see the 19,000 fans in all colors, there's still Boston fans here from the game earlier, even though they lost to Minnesota. There are fans from all 4 schools here, and I'm sure even some schools that didn't even make the Frzoen Four. There are fans from all across the country here tonight. The players know it, and I'm sure that adds a ton of pressure to it. But they got to remember that the game itself, no matter how many people are watching, whether it's 1 or whether it's 19,000, the game doesn't change.
CJ McGee's family was just on the big board. Now Sam Miskevich comes away with the puck and sends it off to Hughes. And looks like Brinley's flying through the zone. And he goes unmarked as Sam Miskevich takes a shot, and it's covered up and gobbled up by Yanni Peretz, who says, I have this one in the breadbasket. Looks like the Wolverines will have to take another draw with 1:46 on the penalty power play.
That was an interesting approach there from Brinley. Gavin Brinley, the first-year forward for Michigan, he skated out of the zone, looped around his defensive end, and powered back into the O-zone, tried to catch a pass in stride there, I'd assume, for a one-timer. That was, if it worked, that would have been some play.
A different approach from Naruto and a coaching staff. Head coach Brendan Naruto was just signed to a 5-year deal on March 31st, so a week ago, and he was the intern head coach last season, taking over for Mel Pearson, a staple of the program that's been in and out between Michigan Tech and Michigan for years, since 1988 to be exact. That's definitely an approach that a former player would try and take. How do you add a dimension to your power play? How do you add another asset and tool? You have Fantilli taking one-timers. Add Brinley, who has so much speed and energy coming through the zone, causing havoc. Disrupt the Bobcats penalty kill that's been stout this evening.
Yeah, you do whatever you can to get your team a goal, especially when you're down in a game like this with just 13 and a half minutes to go. You do whatever it takes, and if that worked, then you would have looked at their head coach as a genius. But unfortunately for Michigan, it didn't pan out that way. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that happen once more, either on this power play or if they get another one in the next 13 minutes.
And the Bobcats disrupt play again and send it all the way down to Eric Portillo, the Gothenburg, Sweden native, played for HC Frölunda, which is where Henrik Lundqvist played in Sweden, as well as Rasmus Dahlin. So he's had some great experience coming all the way through there, is now a Michigan Wolverine in one of the top premier programs in the NCAA, and he's already LA Kings property, as we'd mentioned before. Now Luke Hughes, a pass off, recollects a one-timer, and it's blocked away by Skylar Brindamore. a perfect play, blocking that off the knee pad. DeYoung steps up to block another huge shot and does, and it goes wide. Brindley with the puck off the board, sends it off to Fantilli. To Cicilline in the slot. Cicilline at the point, takes a shot, and it's off the post, no go! Cicilline, perfect in the bumper position, had time and space, worked with it, took a shot, and it's blocked, and a rebound comes out, and Johnson swings it and sends it all the way down the ice, 11 seconds. Adam Fantilli stepping off the ice. He's angered that he couldn't pull the trigger on that power play. Cicilline hit the crossbar right over Peretz, over his shoulder. Did not succeed in getting it past him. It's a game of inches at this time. It's a game of inches in the playoffs. Jaden Lee with the puck, sends it all the way through, and sends it for a streaking on in Lipkin. A move, and Portillo makes the save. He cuts around the net, a wide open net. Jaden Lee takes a shot, and it somehow stays out. And he shot through the crease. Portillo didn't see it, and it goes wide. Puck goes around the boards. Quillen and Lipkin tying it up. That's Graff. My apologies. Graff in on Seamus, Casey, and Edwards. Quillen, a backhand pass to Rossinen to the point to set up in the offensive zone. Jaden Lee takes a shot at a wrister. Graff in on after it. Gets checked hard by Estapa, and it comes out of the zone. They're hard on the forecheck. Rossinen circles with the puck. Finnish native. Off to Lipkin, and it looks like it might be offsides, but Quillen gets it. Sends a pass off, misses Graff, and this comes the other way to Pearson. Pearson, an outstretched pass to Estapa. It hits a stick but goes in. Nazar first to the puck. And it looks like a blatant trip by Rossinen just goes completely unnoticed. Fans didn't really react either. And it comes all the way out of the zone. Off the stick of Nordquist. He chips it in and goes for a change. Number 12 with a motor. Chineski and air in. Can't get to the puck first. And filling in on a stop and start. Has to chase down Nazar through the neutral zone. Holland with the puck. Sends a pass off to Nazar. Nazar gets broken up by Friedman. And a pass comes all the way out. Sent down the ice by the Bobcats. And Fillion's chasing it down to blow off the icing. But it is waved as an icing as across two lines. Fillion getting into it with Pearson. Looks like the Wolverines are a little bit frustrated after that power play. Lipkin, wow, look at that opportunity. Had a prime breakaway opportunity, and Portillo made the save.
That wasn't even the most impressive. I mean, that save there, the second save on the rebound, was probably the most impressive of that sequence. But I'm not sure how any of those didn't cross the goal line. I don't know how all of them stayed out. That puck was like a pinball the whole time, and that was remarkable that it never crossed the goal line.
Pinball wizard. And the puck comes out of the zone. Bobcats chip it out, start the defense. Defense turns to offense if you're good in transition, and they sure have in this game. McGroarty off to Fantilli, Casey at the point. He goes, takes a shot, and a look for a tip from McGroarty. They're certainly bringing their skill now, and it comes out of the zone on their own miscue. And the puck comes out to Casey. Casey off to Branley. Branley checked by Lombardi and falls to the ice. Soft check by Lombardi. Big boy, Barrington, Rhode Island native. Brindley comes away with the puck. And the Cipollone and Sandpaper line go to work with Metza and Lee on the defensive side of the puck. Lee, Metza, and Johnson logging big minutes for the Bobcats. Metza with a head of steam gets a pass off to try and hit Lombardi. He's got it at his feet, sends it off to Cipollone, who takes a shot, and it's swallowed up by Portillo. Looks like he had a little bit of trouble with that. And we'll have some pushing, shoving, and extracurricular activity, some schoolyard bullying going on the ice right now.
Yeah, well, Michigan the last few minutes I've noticed have started to play more of a physical game. They've started to lay the body a little bit more. And Quinnipiac, if you're the Bobcats, you got to fight fire with fire sometimes, and this is one of those cases. And even just the pushing and shoving after the whistle can sometimes be a good response to say, like, listen, you're not going to walk all over us here. And if you're the Bobcats, you got to respond that way, and I think they have done that in a really good way so far. Under 10 minutes to play here, and they're up by 1 still.
Now, for all those of you, if you're joining us now, if you're watching the game on TV and have us on the radio, it is 3-2 Bobcats, so they are holding on to that lead. There's 9:47 remaining in the third period. Amalie Arena and the Tampa Bay Lightning founded themselves out of the 1980s. Tony and Phil Esposito went in. Phil Esposito and Tony Esposito, both Hall of Famers, founded the Tampa Bay Lightning. They quickly found themselves into an arena that renamed itself 4 times before being taken over by Amalie. It's one of the largest stadiums in the NHL. It's one of the biggest ice hockey arenas in the United States of America, 7th, and it's sold out tonight. Packed crowd, There's been noise all game, back and forth action. Who will win this one? Well, the Bobcats have the lead right now. How do they hold on to that, Eric?
Well, they got to keep playing the way they have because it's worked. They've had some, like I said, defensive lapses here and there, but overall they've played a really sound game, and they've been putting offense first, and that's not what we said would be the key to the game. So I guess we were wrong to this point about that. They have been more offensively charged than sound defensively, but they have been sound enough where they've only surrendered 2 goals and find themselves ahead by 1. So they're doing everything right. To this point, we still got just under 10 minutes to play here, and anything can happen. But to this point, they've done everything right. So they've just got to stick to their game plan. They had a rough second period, but they survived. They came out of it in a tie game, and that's credit to the quality first period they had. And they came out here in the third, and they potted another one, and they find themselves, like I said, up by 1. So just playing Bobcat hockey the way they have all 39 games so far this season, and that's the key to winning. They've got to hang on for 9:47 to go.
Now, Brandon Naruto spent 8 years as the USA Hockey Director of Player Development. So he certainly has his fair share of learning and teaching skilled players. Looks like Luke Hughes got tripped up, no call, and we'll see if that skill and that direction will come through tonight, as he has so many NHL draft prospects on this roster. Playing as a cohesive unit, certainly down 1 goal here against the Quinnipiac Bobcats. Hughes has the puck. He's checked off, but finds a way to break through, and Estapa's checked into the net by the Bobcats, and they transition the other way. Jacob Cohen with the puck has 2 goals this game. Sam Lipkin with him has a goal. So far, the go-ahead goal. Estapa with the puck, 94, shaken into the boards by Graff and Lipkin, and the puck comes below the dots, and Metza head up, the Delafield, Wisconsin native, All-American last season, led the nation with a plus 38. He was on the ice for 38 goals over the goals he was out against. Has logged huge minutes. Captain of the Bobcats, 49th in team history. Starts a breakout and comes out to Brendan Moore, who cuts to the net, and Portillo makes a pad save. Oh, and he winces at that one. Slow to get up as it comes down into Bobcats' end, and he looks like he's getting himself back into position, and the puck squeaks out, but Peretz makes a save. Portillo did not look comfortable there, if you notice, Eric.
Yeah, that was definitely an awkward save that he made. And yeah, he's still
testing out that stride.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's very comfortable right now. It looks as though he'll stay in. None of the trainers have gone out to visit him, so good news if you're a Michigan fan. It looks as though he'll stay in, and he's going to be fine and shake it off. But yeah, that was definitely an awkward sequence there for Portillo. Made the save nonetheless, though. It was a pretty good save. He got the pad out. Brendan Moore had a great chance there. Tried to go one-handed. Couldn't do it. And it remains a 1-goal game.
Fantilli takes a shot off the draw, and that thing zips by Yanni Peretz and wide. Got to think if you're the Bobcats, and if anyone noticed on the bench, you got to be thinking they're communicating that Portillo went down awkwardly, and you got to smell blood. Hughes takes a shot, and it's gloved down by Peretz as he got to the top of the blue paint to snack that one in the breadbasket. That is his 25th save of the evening.
Well, he's got to be, just like every hockey game, for any team, your goalie's got to be your best defenseman. I always say best penalty killer, but in reality, he's got to be their best defenseman. And so far, only 2 goals surrendered on 27 shots. So he's made 25 saves tonight against a really tough, offensively charged Michigan team. So, he's showing tonight so far why he was awarded the ECAC Goaltender of the Year.
1.17 goals against, the .932 save percentage, 570 saves on the year. Another immaculate year. He broke the ECAC and Quinnipiac club record for shutouts with 20 this season. And a pass out to Lipkin as the York Hill boys go to work. Graff in to the zone, first F1 on the forecheck. Puck gets by Quillen and Lipkin, and they come back on the defensive side of the puck. Johnson using his frame, squaring things off. Lipkin tries to get the puck past Casey and Nazarene, doesn't succeed, and it comes into the zone. A chip up the wall. Lipkin can't collect, and it goes all the way into their end. Nordquist shovels one to Graff. Graff, a slick pass off to Lipkin, who tries to bump it into the zone for the change and succeeds. Seamus Casey with the puck. Head manning from behind his own net. 3 stripes on the helmet. Adam Fantilli with speed. On his forehand, walks around Philly and takes the shot, and it goes wide. He certainly will look to take over here with 7:32 remaining in the third. Christophe Tellier, the Sherbrooke boys are on the ice. Quebec natives, a pass off and a chip in from Rossinen, and Fantilli comes up with the puck. Sends it and dishes a pass off around the boards to Brindley. Pearson with the puck, headmanning. The defenseman hits Fantilli on the out. On his forehand, sends a pass off and is disrupted by Chinesky in air, and Fantilli's angered. Bangs his stick on the ice. Tellier into the zone. He certainly has a compete level to him. Fillion, number 13 in, is all alone, but the puck comes out to Metza at the point, who takes a shot, an unassuming shot, and he scores! Zach Metza, a shot, surprises Portillo, and it's 4-2 Bobcats! He surprised again! That's hockey, baby!
He surprised us from up here. We didn't see that shot coming, and before we knew it, the puck was settled in the back of the net. What a shot there to catch everyone off guard. And just like that, Quinnipiac finds themselves ahead by 2.
Michael Jordan, 23, game on the line. Who do you want with the puck on the stick? 23, Zach Metza, the captain.
I was just going to say that Fantilli slamming a stick on the ice was a sign that Quinnipiac has been doing their job tonight. We said at the top of the broadcast that what the Bobcats needed to do, on top of many things, was get under the skin of the Michigan Wolverines, especially Adam Fantilli. And him slamming a stick was a sign that that was working, and followed up with a goal.
Completely unassuming play, Eric. Completely unassuming. The shot went in. Eric and I, again, that is the third time this evening from our booth. The fans in the arena didn't know where the puck was on the play, and Portillo surprised again on a third goal that he probably should have had. Now, he's averaging a 2.97 goals against average, so it's not like it's unfamiliar territory for the Michigan Wolverines to allow 3 goals, but they now trail by 2 with 6:13 remaining in the third period. Plenty of hockey left. And a shot comes out and it's disrupted. Granowicz with it, sends it off to Moyle, who scored 2 goals in the regional against the Bobcats, was a Bobcats killer last year in 2022 in Allentown. Friedman with the puck, TJ Friedman chips it out of the zone and goes for a change. Now they'll definitely look to get fresh legs and quick line changes here. As Graf tries to disrupt Edwards, loses his stick. Edwards circles and gets a pass off now to TJ Hughes, who weaves through the zone, shakes off Graf. My apologies, that's Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes checked off the puck by Quillen, who steals it, and Luke Hughes goes down. Quillen with the puck. 2 goals this game, sends it in for Lipkin. The York Hill boys line has certainly taken over this one, as they've recorded 3 goals this evening. Surprisingly, Colin Graf quiet still. Luke Hughes with the puck sends it off to Mackie Samiskevich. His real name's Matthew Mackie, a nickname given to him all through his childhood. Mackie off, sends a pass across to a wide open back door for Dylan Duke, and it's broken up, and now the Bobcats come away with it. Lipkin tries to poke it free as they're looking to change lines, and Lipkin dumps it into the zone. He sends himself off the ice. DeYoung on the puck, number 10 for the Bobcats, playing neutral zone trap. Desi Burgard on him, and we'll have that second line on the ice, as Rand Pecknold calls them. And the puck comes out of the zone down the ice. And Desi Burgard beats the icing and shakes off a heavy check from Brindley. Desi Burgard has battled injuries all year, but looks to be fine as he came off a heavy check from Brindley. DeYoung off to Burgard. Burgard chips it around a defender and is the first guy in again. Man, does he have a motor on him? Desi Burgard circles the net and goes for a change. Doing a good job disrupting the in and out. Adam Fantilli takes a hard shot, and it's patted away from Yaniv Peretz. And another shot comes into the crease, and the rebound comes out, but it's broken up. A chip play out, and Fillion gets tripped behind the play, no call. Friedman with the puck, gets it past the defender, but the defender stands him up in Edwards. Portillo circles the puck around the boards for Brindley. Brindley's on the ice again. Man, Narato's playing that first line, double shifting. Seamus Casey with the puck, sends it off to Nazar, 91, cutting through the zone. Johnson on his backhand tries to clear it. It comes back to him. 2 men on. He's getting chased down by this third line, who sends a pass out in front, and there's no defender on him. The Bobcats look to lose a little bit of their structure as the pace of the game has certainly gone up. 3:44 remaining. 4 minutes just flew by that without a timeout, a TV timeout. And the clock keeps ticking down as the Michigan Wolverines will have to battle that. That is their true enemy. The Quinnipiac Bobcats up 4-2. The enemy, the clock. Sam Lipkin on it. Jacob Cole makes a play to himself, and now he's streaking on in. Sends a pass off to a streaking Graf, but it goes just past his stick. And a pass out all the way around to the other dot. Finds Sam Lipkin, the Lafayette Hill native, ECAC Rookie of the Year, doing battle with Pearson and Nazar in the corner. Luke Hughes on an outlet to Moyle. The captain gets rubbed off by Ethan DeYoung. Lee off to Rossinen. Rossinen heads up to Brindamore, gets past him. Son of Rod the Bod, Skylar Brindamore, number 22, has seen a career high in all of his totals this season and scored the game-winning goal against Ohio State, the Michigan Wolverines rival in the regional final. TJ Hughes a shot and it comes out. Sam Miskevich can't collect as it's in Rossinen's skates, and he chips the puck all the way out, but Fantilli collects, and they pull the goaltender. Eric Portillo is off the ice. TJ Hughes is disrupted in the defensive end, and Seamus Casey has the puck. Seamus Casey with the puck. Again, weaves through a defender. Gets a puck out in front. TJ Hughes can't collect it now. The Bobcats bottle it up in the corner, but it comes out. Hits an official. Joey Cipollone off the wall. It's going down the ice, and it looks like it'll be an icing with 2:21 remaining.
Yeah, well, you'd expect Michigan to pull their goalie this early. You're down by 2 goals, and Quinnipiac has not let them do much of anything offensively the last few shifts here. So if you're Michigan, you got to do something. Even if pulling the goalie was just to kind of get the team jump-started a little bit in these final minutes, you got to do something to turn the tide here, because Quinnipiac has really made it tough for the Wolverines to do anything worthy of danger or just any kind of close call the last few minutes. So it's been a great sequence recently for Quinnipiac. 2 goals since the start. 1 goal since the start of this period.
Olivia Mobley just shown on the big screen. Quinnipiac women's ice hockey player. Drink in hand. She's enjoying herself. Their season had come to an end against Ohio State. The men's ice hockey team defeated Ohio State to get here. Would have been a very similar storyline that they would have gone to their Frozen Four, respective Frozen Four, if they defeated Ohio State. They lost 3-1. The men's ice hockey Bobcats team won 4-1 to advance. The Michigan Wolverines take a timeout, and I'm sure they're in a little bit of panic mode. They're down 4-2, and they'll have to score 2 in order to knot this game up. 2:19 remaining, and the Bobcats will have to stand tall to defend their lead here.
Yeah, well, they have all game long, and that's what I meant. You mentioned Olivia Mobley's here. Speaking of the Quinnipiac women's hockey team, Mackie Samiskevich, the sophomore forward from Michigan, has 2 sisters, both of which have played for the Quinnipiac University women's hockey team. So a little bit of family ties here in Tampa. I'd assume that both Melissa and Maddie are here tonight watching their brother play. I'm not sure who they're rooting for, but
we'll see who they're rooting for here. As you mentioned, I would assume it's probably for her kinfolk. And there's another timeout. It looks like maybe the Bobcats took this one. Yeah, timeout Quinnipiac here was just announced by the officials. So they're both taking their timeouts now. Give Yanni Peretz a breather. Give the man in the crease a breather, because this will define his career here. He has come in and shown up game in and game out in the Lake Placid. 45 saves, was on the wrong end of history there. He's often been on the wrong end of history for the Bobcats, down 4-0 against Michigan in the 2022 Allentown Regional Final that ended their season in just a year ago. Now he's battling against the same team, except on this time, he's in the lead. His team's in the lead.
yeah, this is a career-defining game, as you mentioned. And even in Lake Placid, as you mentioned, he made 45 saves that night. It came out on the wrong end of it. Quinnipiac, you could make the argument, may have won that game if it wasn't for the unfortunate ejection of Skylar Brindamore, who has been fantastic in the face-off dot we mentioned earlier. And I think with the loss of him in that game, that kind of put a lack of structure in the Quinnipiac lineup that day, and put a lot more stress on Yaniv Peretz, who just couldn't hang in there for the win. But he's hung in really well tonight. 28 saves on 30 shots faced, and he's got to hang on for 2 minutes and 19 seconds more for a shot at a national championship tomorrow against Minnesota, if he is and his whole team is able to hang on.
Mackie Samiskevich, a pass off to Hughes. Hughes takes a shot, and it's picked up by Metza down low, and the goalie is pulled. Ethan DeYoung takes his whack, but it's picked off. And a pass through the crease is picked off by Lipkin, and it goes down the ice, but it'll be an icing. As you mentioned, national championship on the line. I think the Bobcats stunned Michigan here, certainly, and I think they stunned Portillo. 3 goals that certainly Portillo either should have been tracking. You could call him lucky, but the Bobcats also got into the zone and caused havoc.
Yeah, lucky or not, they still count, and there's still 4 of them on the board as opposed to Michigan's 2. So, you know, Michigan and their fans might say, okay, there was some lucky goals that caught the goalie off guard, but
Lipkin off to DeYoung, and he had a chance at the empty net, but missed, and DeYoung comes away with it. He has the puck on his stick. He moves to the net. He shoots. He scores. Ethan DeYoung scores to put the Bobcats up 5-2, and they'll take a 3-goal lead over Michigan. He goes to the bench and celebrates. The arena is abuzz. Number 10 may have just sent the Bobcats to the national championship, and the Wolverine fans are heading to the exits.
Well, that may have done it. There's still a minute 45 to go in this game, but Ethan DeYoung may have just sealed the deal and put the icing on the cake. The empty net goal to put the Bobcats ahead by 3. We have a penalty coming up here.
Oh, looks like either a review or a penalty here. Fans exiting the arenas for Michigan, but it looks like there's either a review that they're waiting for or a call here. Bobcats come to the bench, and Rand Pecknold is talking to them.
It's Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes is off to the box.
Oh, a penalty on Michigan. Most likely after the play, and look at the Bobcats celebrate on the ESPN replay. If you're watching the game, puck comes out, and now Jaden Lee with the puck on his stick. Sends a pass off to DeYoung, and he's tripped up. And Portillo's in the net, but he hits Lipkin. Lipkin streaking on in. Finds Graff, but it's knocked off his stick by Edwards. Edwards circles. And a pass across is broken up. The Bobcats lead 5-2 with 1:26 remaining. Seamus Casey with the puck, trying to weave through the zone. He's broken up by Lipkin. Stood up, and Lipkin comes away with it. Lipkin floats a pass into the zone, and Portillo circles the puck around the net. Graff with the puck to DeYoung. DeYoung up the wall to Johnson. Johnson feeds a wide open Quillen, who makes a move to the net, and it goes just wide as he lost it at his feet and in his chest. Nazar with the puck, tries to make a move, turns, Johnson inside out, but Johnson checks him hard. Fans in the arena upset that there's no call, but it was a clean check and a heavy check. Quillen off to Graff, who shoots, and it's glove by Portillo.
Well, that was a big save there by Portillo to keep his team within 3, but time is winding down real fast. 51.2 to go, and this is going to be another defensive zone draw here for Michigan and just more time off the clock. 3 goals is a lot to come back from early in a game. Forget in the final minute. It looks as though this is going to be Quinnipiac's game, and the Bobcats are going to head off to the national championship game 2 nights from now, barring a miracle from Michigan.
And the Michigan Wolverines pick the puck up with 38 seconds remaining in the game. Adam Fantilli gets a pass off to Sam Miskevich, who sends it across. A shot goes over the net. 29 on the clock. A chip out, empty net. Quillen takes a shot at it, in his feet, has another chance, sends it across to Tellier, who shoots, and it goes wide. And he recollects. Tellier tries to feed Quillen, and Cicilline has the puck, sends it into the zone. 12 seconds tick off the clock. Yanni Peretz sends it off. A pass out. Hits the feet. The Sherbrooke boys on the ice. 4 seconds. A shot goes in. And the Bobcats are headed to the national championship against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Bobcats have defied the odds and done the unthinkable. They erase their history of being on the wrong side of these games and defeat the Michigan Wolverines, who underestimated them from the day they stepped into this building. They make history in Tampa and are going to the national championship.
What a night for Quinnipiac and Bobcat Nation as a whole. The last time Quinnipiac was here in the Frzoen 4, it was in Tampa in 2016. They defeated Boston College 3-2 in the semifinals. They ended up losing to the University of North Dakota 5-1 in the championship game. But 2 nights from now, they'll get their shot at redemption against Minnesota, a team highly touted. Coming in here, they're the number 1 seed, so the job not done yet for Quinnipiac, but my goodness, one of the biggest upsets in recent memory. Quinnipiac has knocked off the Michigan Wolverines and are off to the NCAA championship game here from Amalie Arena.
Down in Jungle Land, the Bobcats get the job done, and they win 5-2 over the Michigan Wolverines. Handshake lines for the Michigan Wolverines, the Tampa Tantrum for the Quinnipiac Bobcats. National championship bound for the first time since 2016. What an incredible defeat. One of the greatest upsets in recent memory in NCAA hockey tournament history. And they'll go on to play the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday evening. They'll have a prep day, and I'm sure they'll have plenty of rest time in between. The handshake line underway. Jacob Quillen with 2 major goals in this game. Zach Metza putting them up 4-2. The icing on the cake. And the Bobcats skate off the ice. Waving on the fan section is Sam Litkin and Ethan DeYoung, who both tally goals in this game. Their culture came through, as Rand Pecknold said. They shut things down. Adam Fantilli was virtually invisible aside from his one-timer on the power play. They only generated 2 goals. Culture versus skill, and culture prevails. The Bobcats win, and they go on to defend the ECAC, not only for their conference, but for the national championship.
Well, they did everything that Coach Pecknold and the players, they all said that they wanted to do. They did it, and that's the reason they put up 5 tonight on 30 shots. They surrendered 31 shots, but only 2 goals, so the big board says a win and a championship game on Saturday. Mike Lombardi in the press conference yesterday, he spoke for a while. They all did, but the biggest thing that came out, him and Coach Pecknold, along with Jaden Lee and Captain Zach Metza, they all stressed the fact that Quinnipiac men's hockey team is a family. They play well together. They all get along. They love playing alongside each other, and that is the reason. Yeah, on paper, they might not be as skilled as the Michigan Wolverines, but when you play that well together, when you play the way that Quinnipiac does on a 200-feet ice surface, you never know what can happen. They frustrated the Wolverines tonight to no end, and they will come away with another victory in the semifinal round and another shot at redemption in the championship game on Saturday.
This will be their first appearance since 2016, when Devon Taves, Connor Clifton were on that team. And we mentioned during the broadcast, they talked about how they did not want to live with that regret. They skate off the ice by winning by 3 goals, defeating a super team. The Bobcats do the unthinkable and defy the odds to advance to the national championship. There will only be one other team remaining, and that's the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Quinnipiac Bobcats, arguably the underdog of the entire tournament, come out on top and defeat Michigan. Michigan goes home. They'll be flying out of Tampa. The Bobcats will remain here, as well as Eric and I, as we'll be on the call for Saturday night for the national championship on QBSN Radio.
Yep, see you then. And tonight, another fun fact that I just got to the right of me was that Quinnipiac tonight, with the win, has set a program record 33 wins in a single season. A truly remarkable campaign from the Quinnipiac Bobcats this year. And it's not over.
It's not over, Eric. There are 2 teams remaining in college hockey. One of them, the Hamden Heavyweights. The other, the Minnesota Menaces. Minnesota Golden Gophers, Quinnipiac Bobcats. They'll be facing off on Saturday night in the national championship. We'll have the game here on QBSN Radio. And please join us for that spectacular national championship game that will be taking place here in Tampa, Florida at Amalie Arena. From all over the country, Quinnipiac Nation, Bobcat Nation, the Bobcats got the job done. They win 5-2 over the Michigan Wolverines. Any last words, Eric?
I mean, the Bobcats just played a really sound game overall. They came here, they did what they said they needed to do, and it's not over. They still have work to be done. The job is not complete by any stretch, but this has to give them the huge confidence boost going into Saturday, knowing that they can beat Michigan. And Minnesota, ranked number 1, maybe on paper, is a better roster than Michigan. But if they can beat Michigan, they can beat pretty much anyone. They proved tonight, Quinnipiac did, that they can go toe-to-toe with the best of the best. And for Michigan, their players, I'm sure, are devastated right now. Their season has come to a close, and a few of them are going to be leaving after this year. And I can't imagine what that feeling is like. But for them, they got to keep their heads high. And on a personal level, they've got stuff to look forward to. Adam Fantilli's got the NHL draft coming up. He's eligible this year, projected to go 2nd overall. Luke Hughes, Jersey fans, you're ready. He's coming up. He's going to be a Devil in the next few days. Those players have tons to look forward to, and they got to keep their heads up too. But for Quinnipiac, they won tonight, and yeah, they might have had a few lucky goals. You can call it what you want, but they got 5 of them. Michigan had 2, and that's that.
If you were lucky enough to join us on these radio waves tonight, thank you so much for joining us. Bobcats versus the world. They do the unthinkable with the biggest win in arguably their program's history, from Hamden to Tampa. We traveled with the team to cover the games. We'll be covering the game Saturday night in the national championship. For Matthew Mugno, I'm Eric Zank. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join us on Saturday for the national championship. Bobcats, Gophers.